Huh. It's so close. That's our
you're
camera.
live. Hey,
Sweet. Okay.
Finally.
Okay,
Thanks for
that was
waiting.
weird.
See, there's 4 people. Hello.
Yeah, I don't understand why it wouldn't go.
Thanks for coming.
That's weird.
It was stalling for the past 30 minutes. Just had some technical issues, so thank you for hanging out. That was cool that you guys set reminders.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe it's not working because
We got these claws out. Since there's no laws when drinking claws.
All right, I started on Facebook too. Okay.
All right, so you get that Facebook going. Then we're gonna get to talking about some tough issues.
Yes, very tough.
Very tough.
Yeah. White claws are great. They also rhyme with red flag laws. But they're the complete opposite of them.
Yeah, because there ain't no laws in drinking claws.
It's voluntary. I mean, when I buy it.
That's true.
And so we're going to cover some different stories. What prompted us to do this live stream, well, it was my idea because I saw a story from Sal the Agorist, and it was about this couple, this elderly couple. The husband was a Vietnam War veteran, and they had, like a lot of veterans have, they have a lot of memorabilia from the wars they were in because it's like, nostalgic for them.
And past.
Yeah. And they also had like their own guns and ammo. And the thing is, like, this couple, we'll talk more about it in detail, and we'll read the article and also dissect like the clear bias in it. And manipulations, how they're framing it. But all of their property was just taken just because some family that was helping them move.
Helping, right?
And they weren't clear about it. I don't know if like the elderly couple hired them or what. Like they just hired this family to help them move. I don't know. But the family, while they're helping them move, they just saw like all the old war memorabilia. They saw like
they saw some inert bombs, basically. Like, in other words, like just collectibles. Sorry, they're Facebook just getting the study. Mm-hmm. They saw some collectible, basically just historical bombs. They weren't like working or anything. Not that'd be a problem, but just nothing more than memorabilia.
They were scared and acted like this elderly couple was so violent, but like they don't even describe the elderly couple. What was the elderly couple doing? Were they just like sitting there, like just non-violently? Were they being threatening? No, they don't say that at all. There's no crime or anything.
It's like they were just moving in and the people got
and they just see it and they're like, oh my gosh. I mean, this is equivalent to somebody who just sees like a Second Amendment sticker and like freaks out. They're like, oh my gosh, they probably have guns. Probably one of those Trump supporters. They're probably like gonna do a mass shooting. Like, oh my gosh. Because of all the mainstream media selection bias of the stories that they choose to show, they don't show the DGUs, right? They don't do that on the national stage. They like one dude took on like 5 guys with his AR. You never see that in American like corporate media. Like
just like on that is like mainstream prime time, like the front page of Time magazine, the front page CNN. Of New York Times, 7 or 9 o'clock news on CNN, Fox. You're not going to see DGUs, being promoted at those high times. Yeah.
Yeah. And but the stories you do see are the ones that fit their narrative.
Right.
And they intentionally, if you saw my last video, they intentionally don't call things by their proper names when it doesn't suit them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like just saying someone who defended himself with the AR or rifle, but someone who used an AR for mass murder is, they'll say it's an AR-15.
Yeah, they'll be like, that's an assault rifle. But if the police are using it, it's just a rifle,
here's
right?
My car, let me whip it out.
If someone is using it in self-defense, that's just a rifle. That's not an assault rifle when, someone uses it for defense. It's just a rifle. We're going to cover that up. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I like how you're part of the podcast. It was so natural. I didn't even notice till now.
Oh, how so?
Even though you're sharing your
story. Oh yeah, because I gotta do the manual work of sharing this everywhere so that everybody knows, hey, it's going on. So I want to make sure as many people hear it as possible. So that's it. I just like
that you're on still. You're still talking.
I am. I'm almost I think this is the last one.
That's
something like that.
So anyway, yeah. So after I saw that story from Sal the Agorist, I was just filled with so much anger. Like, that could just be some person's grandpa and grandma. And like, what are they doing? Making pies for their grandchildren? Like, what the heck?
They're making bomb
pies.
pies.
Do wrong? Is there footage of them threatening you? You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't even any claims that the elderly couple was being violent. All it was they were concerned. They were a concerned, vigilant citizen. Yeah. So anyway, that's what we're going to talk about.
Sorry, Facebook, for that twister.
Oh, it's like a transition for Facebook.
Yeah, I just realized that it was very wobbly. I'm like, okay, they're going to hate this. Okay. Now I think we're somewhat centered.
Yeah. You can tilt it down. It's kind of like tilted up.
Well, I don't know. Sorry. Oh, on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, it's impromptu, so we're just hanging in tight. All right. Now I can officially break this claw in.
I ranted for a little bit. Thanks for listening.
There we go. Yeah, now we got everything shared, and hopefully everybody's seen it. So we have a lot to talk about and break down. So, whew, it's going to be quite a doozy. So,
how's the audio? Good?
Yeah, just check everybody, make sure the audio is all good here.
No one's complaining.
It's kind of impromptu
yet.
Here.
Hello, my dudes. I saw this article today, right? I mean, anyone else mad when they read it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely maddening because, you know, at least from what everything, you know, has come through so far, it just literally is a story of some people getting to see inside this elderly couple's house, and they immediately get triggered because,
from a voluntary trade, by the way. Not because they were
kidnapped. Not because they were they weren't breaking it.
They're like the elderly couple.
They were just helping them move, supposedly. At least that's what, you know, is written from what we can tell. So literally, we're talking about, you know, just helping somebody move, and they happen to see, oh, you have guns, you have memorabilia from, you know, from
you
past wars. How dare you?
Home, there's a level of trust there.
Yeah, that's just that really is what is, I think, so absolutely revolting and disgusting that some people would take that opportunity that they're saying I'm helping them, and then turn to an opportunity for them to literally get robbed by the ATF and their, you know, police that were there.
If the elderly couple did something, like the old veteran, like, came at them with a knife. Yeah, okay, it makes sense. Like, that's criminal. he was trying to initiate
right, but that didn't happen. So
I know, exactly, and that's why it's so outrageous, because these are these are yet other victims of the state, like more victims of the state, you know.
Yeah, and it's just this
who's
pattern.
Interviewing them, I want to interview them and just ask them, like, wow, what's your experience through all this? Like, what happened? Well,
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't think they're going to be open interviews right now.
I know.
Pretty sure they're going to be dealing with this legal issue, and the stories themselves said that you know, there were no charges. Well, obviously, because at least from what was said, the guns they owned and the, you know, basically props are just metal props because they're inert bombs. They're just like little displays.
Yeah.
There's nothing to charge them over because they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do anything illegal. I mean, besides the, you know, ethical standpoint, they didn't do anything illegal in the first place. So it's literally just police snooping around, going through their stuff, and basically making their lives miserable. And this trend is something that we foresee getting much worse as more states are passing red flag like laws, and the federal government, you know, people in Senate and the House are considering a type of federal red flag law. And this is so serious in terms of a very material threat. This is an unprecedented threat, I think, in terms of legal history at large, that we really want to do something to stop it in terms of unifying people together and producing counter media to these major gun groups, these gun grabbers who are able to play to people's emotions. And, you know, as you've seen with her videos, with our content, you know, we obviously
break it down.
Down the logic and facts.
I'm not saying, hey, go buy my giant treatise on anarchy. Like, that already exists. Like, I'm just like saying, like, here's like a really quick rundown of a philosophy that you haven't heard about.
Well, right. And also, like, the kinds of videos you do are more factual and more intellectual, just describing, you know, here's the ethics, here's the actual nature of the statistics and the things, you know, that we created with memes and videos. But we really need to put together something that has an emotional drive, because, again, we're fighting fire with fire here. They're going to try to make people who are peaceful gun owners be terrorists. Like, you know, the San Diego city council or San Francisco city councils.
That elderly couple is the example. This
right.
elderly couple, they have no accusations. There's no charges or anything like that.
Right.
Like, just because they had weapons, they're now suddenly changed into criminals, and they're concerned in those people's eyes. You know, like that.
Right.
That is the product of the propaganda, and that's what we want to counter. You know,
right, and more so than anything, again, because all these different gun grabbing groups, Moms in Action, March for Our Lives, and someone to comment here, yeah, San Francisco, they're saying the NRA is a terrorist organization. We don't like the NRA personally in terms of, them compromising, but the idea that you're a terrorist for being a part of an organization that's just, oh, hey, people should generally be left alone to enjoy their fundamental rights. I mean, we're talking about the level.
San Francisco, was it?
It was San Francisco. Council? They said, oh, they were going to declare them. They just written statement doesn't do anything. But
that's so silly.
We're talking about demonization.
Instructors or people who just want to have their kids be trained so they can all defend the home.
Right. This kind of rhetoric, when people say, how did the Holocaust happen, right? Or how did any mass genocide happen? Because obviously the Holocaust is not the other one. How did this happen? You're right now there in the years leading up to what is about to be that. Right now, I'm not being hyperbolic, from a pure legal standpoint, when you think about what's the language being used, how are these laws going to effectively, be used, we are talking about the things that led up to Holocaust level mass murder. Because what's going to happen
prior.
Right. What's going to happen is certain groups of people are demonized. They're categorized, as whatever they're going to say. They're going to say they're terrorists. They're going to say they're mentally unwell just because they have an interest in shooting guns. They're going to politicize it. And then eventually there's going to be like there was, like
Mao Zedong.
Right.
And all the communists. It's
exactly.
It's the bourgeoisie. It's the merchants. It's the,
Right. So essentially what that means is that, they're going to use the public at large to basically have them attack each other. That's the goal, right? Is to divide and conquer. Don't get them fighting the politicians. Let's get, your regular Joe Schmo in the street to call in and say, oh, I think my neighbor has guns, or, I think, they might be a terrorist because I saw them have whatever political sticker plus.
All founded on collectivism, by the way. That's what fuels it all, is the collectivist mindset on all sides. It's not seeing an individual for who they are. It's just seeing them because of stereotypes like, you have guns, you just support the Second Amendment, or you're just a member of the NRA, or Gun Owners of America. Oh my gosh, you must be like a potential terrorist. That is their bias, their collectivization of that, instead of seeing you as an individual for what your actions are.
Right, exactly.
You could be the nicest person. What if you're it's your coworker, right? You go to work, you're just everyone knew you've been there for 5 years, 7 years, whatever. A lot of people have long-time jobs. And they just find out, or they've been all radicalized from seeing all this propaganda of the mass shootings and the selective reporting, and they're enraged, a lot of these fucking gun control your face, gun control advocates are they're a lot of them are really scared, and they're irrationally scared, irrationally fearful, and they have this extreme desire to control what they're so scared of. They're just scared. They're okay, I just got to control everybody.
And so exactly that. And with that in mind, again, we are going to be asking everybody who's listening, everybody who's been following, our work here, to really think about supporting what we're going to be doing next. And what we're going to be doing next is fighting fire with fire when it comes to how they present gun owners and how they present people who just enjoy shooting. And we want to produce at least one, if not a couple, of dramatic shorts that, again, are emotionally driven. Because, again, we're used to doing all the logical stuff. Here's statistical framing, bias, and all that good stuff. We want to do an emotional piece that turns a table on them and shows how what they're advocating for is the actual mass murder, is the actual violence in terms of what will actually happen on a mass scale. And the reason why I think this is so important is because that's the only thing at this point I think people are really willing to listen to or be jolted by.
Most
is that
people,
fear-driven
we live in a
messaging.
Generation of very desensitized people, and people who've been carted around in public school. They're used to following orders. So a lot of them aren't taught critical thinking, certainly not in public schools. Maybe we'll have a rare teacher as an exception, but usually you don't. So most people are broken Most people are dysfunctional. Most people don't think with reason. Maybe they're logical in other areas, but ethically, a lot of people are very inconsistent and haven't really thought through everything, which makes sense. Like, they're just like, that discourse was never allowed. In fact, it was shunned. So,
absolutely,
we've done the, what is it? Logos, that's logic. We've done the ethos, which is ethics, appeal to morality. And the pathos is the emotions.
Right.
So we're doing the pathos.
Right. So exactly. We've been doing the logic stuff. Obviously, we've given people a lot of, ammunition for memes and videos and just ways to realize how the manipulations are actually taking place in the media and otherwise by politicians, and just cutting through it. And actually, I don't know, if whether you've seen this or not, but for us who actually kind of follow this stuff, there's been a change in the media. In other words, some of the news reporting agencies have kind of changed how they frame their language a little bit, because they realized they were too sloppy and the way they were framing stuff was so obviously called out that it became a point to lampoon them. So they kind of had to shift how they did their graphs and stuff like that over time. Because in the beginning, the Vox and all these other people, Huffington Post, they thought they could just get away with it. And then all these people are making these charts showing how what they're doing is, cherry picking or, selectively picking different places or manipulating their data by including suicide and stuff. So they've been called out hard. But now we want to call them out on an emotional level with a dramatized video that hits as hard as what they say when they call, NRA members just, having blood on their hands, or if you like guns, you just, want to go and murder people. We want to take their rhetoric and shove it so far down their throats that they're not even going to even know how it is that they can come back from it. They're going to be on the defensive through past 2020, 2024. We want to hit them so hard with the same kind of tactics that they use that they're going to literally just be shocked. They're going to be stunned, because they're going to be like, how did this happen? Because they're so focused on like the NRA and other major gun lobby groups. They're not going to think that some guerrilla people who, have the talents and have the ability to like produce films and stuff like that and can, orchestrate that, can hit them with such a wild but accurate exposure of what red flag laws will end up doing. So we want to do something like that, very soon. And obviously, with the 2020 election season coming up very soon and many people having amendment ballot issues coming up in their states, we want to get people to realize and second thought what it is that they may approve when it comes to an amendment ballot process or something like that. So, right now we don't have that specifically set up in terms of a direct fundraiser or something like that. But in the very near future, we're going to be launching something of that nature. And we just ask that, if anybody, is like us and feels like, oh my gosh, all these gun grabbers are just throwing out all these different types of emotional attacks that are total nonsense. And you feel so powerless to be able to say something.
Getting people to believe things, not through logic or reason.
Right.
Just out of sheer emotion and bias.
Right.
And collectivist thinking.
We want you to give you a chance to let us be your voice in that way of taking what they say and do and shoving it right in their face and putting it so hard in front of them, they are going to reel back and be like, they didn't even see that this was possible. And I think that that's going to push enough over the edge to rally some more support for people to say, okay, maybe this is going too far with red flag laws.
Because they need to see the alternative. They're just seeing one side. They're not seeing the real nature of gun control.
Right.
All they're seeing is like, ooh, in this case, this red flag law prevented a mass shooting. Like those are the stories they're being fed. And even if the facts of those stories, as we'll talk about, because we have an example of that, aren't truly someone's initiating violence,
right?
Because they perceive it.
But what do they do? Of course, and this is very smart. I'm not saying this is a good thing. It's a smart thing that they do with the FBI and stuff. They're going after certain people that have other unsavory views, right? They're trying to pick people who might be saying things that are a little racist or something that's a little, off-putting, because they want to get people at first under these red flag laws that seem like people would be like, well, I'm not, too upset that they got arrested, right? They want to go after unsavory people at the beginning, because if they can get people to buy into it at the beginning by going after people that you might not like otherwise, then they're going to have wide support to go after anybody that they can demonize. Even people, again, just because people say unsavory things doesn't mean they shouldn't have their, protection of free speech and so forth. But again, the government people who are specifically doing these arrests are consciously looking for these kinds of people that they can demonize at the beginning to rally for more support, because it's very easy to do it that way. So, we are going to fight back at that early by showing the reality of what's going to happen, because this is it. I'm sorry, this is just it. There is not much more time before we see what happened in Nazi Germany But now instead of, Jews, gypsies, gays, or whatever,
or the American Revolution, when it was
right.
When it was either be enslaved by the king some more and like bow down and bow at his toes and be like, king,
right.
Or you fight and you risk your life. And somebody wrote that.
Right.
Oh, sorry, I laughed while you were talking about something serious.
Oh no, it's good. It's good.
I read Modern Renaissance Man. Thank you. So he says, okay, what do we need to do to make this happen, in all caps?
Oh,
that helps. Your super chats. So we were going to mention that. Yeah. So any super chats, all the ways you can support thephilosopher.com/support. Those are all different ways that you can help us. One of the things there are several things that we want to do as a next big step to take our production capabilities to the next level.
Right. And we have 3 specific things we want to do as relates narrowly to this red flag issue. And those 3 things that we're going to be hopefully working on are, first, we want to work on this one particular very short but very powerful skit that we'd like to do that at a high production level. Again, we're talking like what you'd see on TV for a mainline commercial, on whatever, cable news network. Yeah. We want to have something that's that level of good that makes people say, oh, I'd share this. 2, we want to work on a decentralized protest. In other words, not having everybody meet at one place,
one location,
right, a specific time, date where everybody does similar things, and we work on some media and some posters and things like that to help do that leading up to the appropriate time when people are going to the polls. Third, of course, in addition to those 2 things, we also want to produce some other content that is especially geared toward young people, because again, who's being the most propagandized by this right now is all the people in colleges, all the kids in schools, the high schools, right? They're being told, oh, you're going to die in the next mass shooting. Oh, you need to do these drills because, my gosh, you could die any day. And literally you have 4 or 5 times more likely.
And they have them doing the protest for March for Our Lives and gun reform now, and they've never even used a firearm.
And I work with young people still. And as you know, there's been students who were forced or basically told to go out and protest. They were like, oh, you're going to go out of class.
I have family members who are in high school. I just like, it just hurts. Like, I wish I could have done something or like ahead of time to like, and they're just like, oh yeah, I think everything should be banned. I just, and we did this cool walkout. Like, some of them are just like, and then some of them are just like, really serious and bought in. So.
It's very disturbing and maddening.
Scallywag. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Scallywag, for your support.
With you guys.
And again, with your support that you're doing right now, cheers to you.
Modern Renaissance.
This in a sense, anything that's a support right now is part of a pre-funder, because what we're doing is we're going to create the corporate legal structure that will allow us to then go and do the bigger fundraiser for the video, because obviously
that's a much higher production.
Right. We got to make sure that things are ducks in a row, because obviously people want us dead. Whenever you're doing something for liberty, and especially with gun issues, people hate you and want you dead. So we have to do it in a way that makes sure that we stay protected from those kinds of potential attacks. Yeah. But once we put that together, then we're going to be able to formally go forward and, do our pitch about what we want to do with that initial video, and then run forward with those other things, with the decentralized protest, and then doing specific more media messages, maybe another type of video that's really reaching out to high school students, college students. Because again, they're the ones who are getting hit with this new propaganda, and many of them are going to be coming out to the polls in 2020 or telling their friends, and they're going to all have that background of being forced to walk out for March for Your Lives and also the crazy stuff, and being told, oh, you're going to die tomorrow, better have a backpack, that is bulletproof. And it's crazy, because they're literally 4 or 5 times more likely to die in a car accident on their way to school than they are to die in a mass shooting at school. It's so insane. And we have to reach out to the young people to change that culture, because they're fighting against the thickest groupings of socialist, anti-free market people, anti-individual people you can imagine. So, those are kind of our trifecta of things we want to accomplish. And of course, first and foremost, we're going to have to do a separate kind of entity
goals
to do that. It's
goals.
Big goals, but we've done it. We've done stuff before. We've done it.
That's really the next level. We've for those of you who've been here for the past few years, I know there are a lot of you, past three years. No, 4, I think. No, 3. I'm sorry. Yeah. But for the past 3 years, things have been slowly improving. And at this stage, we want to really ramp up, because it's getting close. There's bipartisan support for bills that violate both the right to self-defense. I mean, there already was gun control, and restrictions
Right.
and stupid things like that. But I mean,
this is
there's
next
just
level.
another level, exactly, and it violates due process and creates this division, as we talked about, amongst people.
Erases the Fourth Amendment for sure, like beyond what was already getting chipped away.
Yeah.
Right? Where goes your being charged with a crime? Even you just someone gave a tip, we'll take your guns.
Yeah.
Good luck getting them back.
And you think the same people who have crazy irrational ideas, such as like, I was thinking of many things, but like
it's just them claws catching up.
I know.
Them claws.
I feel very warm.
They take you by surprise.
They do.
But we want to take the gun grabbers by surprise,
too. But there's
a
lot of irrational philosophies out there. People are like, hey, you're not using the right pronoun and you deserve to go to prison or be fined. Or, hey, you need to transition your kids. They're only 4 years old and they're putting on a dress, so you got to turn them into a girl. Like, you're evil if you don't. Like, these are the kinds of people who are in power. Not all of them, obviously. I'm just saying those are the kinds of people getting into power. And, they're your professors a lot of the time at these colleges, indoctrinating the children, and teachers in public schools. You don't want to trust them with the power to violate the Fourth Amendment and the Second Amendment. It's just like...
It is, and I think what you said is actually excellent, because again, what the purpose of many of these... I know we
haven't been free, and it's like, it's about tyranny. We've been in tyranny.
Right.
People are getting taxed 50% or more.
There's just a level of very specific direct violence in a way that is
unprecedented.
Very much so unprecedented on a very wide scale.
Yes.
And what you said, I think, is excellent about children in school. The idea is to get kids so confused with how they're teaching them, both in the methods and the ideologies of strength. Just get them so confused that they're battling each other over what gender they're going to pick.
Yeah, asking
rather
them
than thinking,
questions.
wait, what does it mean to be free? Who, what can I do to grow my intellect or to be a better person?
Or
to grow,
here's another radical question: how are you? How's your home life?
Right.
What's your relationship like with your parents? Oh, I notice you're really sad, or are you getting bullied? What's going on? Like, oftentimes it's just usually so
everybody is the bully in school,
but usually it's so punitive. It's like, maybe a kid starts dozing off. They're so tired, right? Their parents feed them like high fructose corn syrup, or they just have access to all of that, crap and junk food. And their parents are really mean to them, or even abuse them in some way, physically or psychologically. And they're tired from that. And the teacher's like, hey, not in my classroom. Like, just like adding on to it.
Right.
I'm not saying all teachers, guys, but it is a systemic issue in public schools. And it's part of the nature because it's predicated on force. It's not predicated on choice. It's predicated on coercion. So that's why you have these really weird, icky scenarios of people who are forced to be there, being taught by people who don't get that these people are being forced to be there. So they treat them like they're consenting, adults in college who, chose to go to college or something. They treat them.
Oh, that's exactly a good tie-in too to like this crazy idea, right? They're saying, let's get young people to be able to vote at 16 in these states. These legislators are trying to say, let's get young people to vote when they can't even drink. They can't even, buy a car on their own or lease a car on their own. They can't, get, well, now in other states, marijuana, of course, because now it's legal. They can't get guns. They can't vote otherwise, and other types of things. I mean, it's just like so crazy that it's so obvious that those in power are trying to literally dumb down the next generation.
They want to lower the voting age,
right?
Raise the age to defend your own life.
I mean,
it's like, hey, we want you to be even younger to dictate other people's life and be able to vote on things that would allow the state to initiate force on other people. No, we're not. We're going to keep you from wanting to, learn how to defend your own life.
Right.
And it's so sick. And it shows the nature that the masses, the taxpayers, what have you, the people who aren't in power, who aren't the controllers of the establishment of all the institutions, public schools, all the different, federal institutions, state institutions, like police, whatever. Like, to most of them, especially the higher up you go, the more power, you go. Like, imagine someone who's like a police officer all the way up to someone who's like, the Rothschild banks. Ooh, Rothschilds. Ooh, conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
But you know, all the way up, like these people like do not care about you. Think about like Mao Zedong. Think about the Communist Party, who are super, super rich off extorting people and violating their rights, harvesting their organs, censoring them, breaking into their home just for posts that they have. Like these people do not care about you. And yeah, so
yeah,
you know, that's what we want to expose. It's pretty crazy. It's just so sophisticated now because, you know, we live in a world where if you think of like how humanity has evolved in terms of like technology and philosophy, you know, science, like think using the scientific method, reason, self-knowledge, like these are fairly new concepts in the history of humanity, or recorded human history.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe we was apes. I don't know. Like,
but yeah, what you're saying though is like, I mean, dead on in terms of like that type of technological mind control, especially like how, you know, just like you're talking about, you know, China and censoring people, you know, the social credit system.
And some people like, oh, that's science fiction. It's like what we mean by mind control is not like, ooh, they have like some lever into your brain and everything you're doing is like a robot. No,
right.
It's just they're influencing you through propaganda and indoctrinating you to think and be a certain way. And the current kind of culture that's been perpetuated, especially in television and being, you know, millennials especially like witness this, especially when the internet was rising up, cable television, all that, like color, MTV, right? Like they got to really be inculcated with all this different symbology and half truths and stuff that they can't even comprehend as kids. And it's just imprinted on you, you know, watching Disney movies and thinking that, okay, every boyfriend that I get needs to treat me like a princess. like, you know, like different things. Like it's heavy indoctrination. So anyway.
Right. So basically, you know, tying that in with what you're saying with this whole, you know, brainwashing aspect, you know, this basically mind control, you know, the Chinese government did it more on its face, right, with the social credit system, things like that. The U.S. government's doing it on the back end when it comes to, you know, how they're going to be monitoring people and going after people because basically, you know, since they can't do it on the face because it would violate the laws on the face, they have to work on the back end. So the FBI is getting new tools, and they actually just did a recent request for proposal to produce a new tool for data mining. And this is another reason why this is so critical for us to work together now and to pool our efforts now to creating this kind of media and outreach, because it is a known fact that the FBI and other government agencies are trying to silence people secondhand by using their connections within whatever it is, you know, corporate media or Facebook, Google, and so forth. They are doing things through the back door to go after people, silently silence people, you know, pushing forward that agenda. And if we don't work sooner than later, there may not be as much of an easy access to be able to talk to you like there is right now. There may not be an easy opportunity to
think of UK level.
Exactly.
Social media monitoring.
When they're using hate speech to cover up, you know, their actual silencing of dissent, when they're, you know, using
that's the
technological partnerships. Absolutely. And that's the whole part of it, is by, you know, basically eroding each element of individual liberty one piece at a time, just one little bit here, one little bit here, then a little bit here. They're eventually going to chip away. There's nothing left. So again, you know, this is why we are so passionate about this, because we really do see this as nearing a very possibly dangerous end if we don't work together. It really is like that level of what were the, you know, Germans doing.
It makes me think of the Hong
30s,
Kong protesters going through their own revolution against their kind of like federal government equivalent. Kind of like the EU did that, or the US federal government. And it's like, you know, a lot of them say like this is the revolution of our times, and they're correct. If things don't change to what, you know, they're wanting, like things will not be the same for the rest of their lives.
Right.
So it's literally, and nobody has proved to me that there is an afterlife. There's no evidence of that. So for all you know, this is your only chance to experience life and consciousness. So what do you want? What do you want to leave behind? Do you want to leave behind violence? Do you want to be somebody who perpetuated torture and abuse and sophistry, or just lies? Or do you want to be someone who left behind love, or at least fought and tried to stand and protect others?
Exactly. And that's exactly it. Because this is a question of, what kind of future are we going to end up creating and leaving? Because I'm thankful to the people who actually fought and worked to try to produce a freer future. Of course, they weren't perfect. They did some things that I find absolutely evil, of course, like slavery and so forth. But I recognize the fact that it took people with courage to move that ball forward. And I hope that we can work together to move that ball forward instead of basically, regressing to possibly one of the worst technocracies in all of history. I mean, certainly the Chinese government's on that end right now.
I definitely, I've been, I guess, in the liberty movement now for the past just like 4 years, really. I'm compared to some of these OGs I've met, like Jack over here. I'm fairly new, but at least when I started, going to the internet, like there's been, I think, so much more progress that I've seen in the counter propaganda that's been produced by the libertarian, you could say, just constitutionalists, like minarchist people who are just libertarian who just want liberty, mostly, like mostly consistent, two very consistent like volunteers. But but like I've seen a lot of progress. Like Fee has been creating really cool segments, like talking about current culture and stuff. And you have like Seamus making great videos. We the Internet making SNL style hilarious like libertarian. What great. SNL should be like.
Right.
What they kind of used to be. At least when I remember. Maybe I'm seeing it through rose.
They used to be a little bit more even-handed, a little bit.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And so there's been tons of progress, and we're trying to do what we can to help contribute to it and think and try to get better. And
And Modern Renaissance Man, thank you so much for your support. He said, give us an estimate. We need to hit this pre-funding for the framework. So it should be in the $500 to $600 arena, basically for doing all the legal paperwork that we would need to do to make sure that we have all that structure and corporate structure down properly. Because obviously I'm going to need to do everything by the book, because whenever you're doing something like this, what's going to happen, right? Someone might come and try to attack you or look for something. So we want to make sure it's 100%, legit, on the books, everything accurately done, but also privacy secured, because, naturally we want to make sure anybody who's A, supporting their privacy secured, and B, us, we don't want to get attacked, because we guarantee you that if we are able to make this, those gun grabber groups are going to want to kill us. Like, we're not even joking. They're going to tell their members to come kill us.
We already had some crazy comments.
Right.
You guys may have seen on the YouTube. It's not on Facebook, but on the YouTube. It's already like threats and like people saying, "Oh, say that to my face."
Right.
Like, what? It's like not an argument. First of all, to counter anything that I said, I made specific arguments about people. So there are people who want to kill you because you are trying to. They're either very ignorant, and so they just learn to see you as like literally evil, or they hate you because you're like jeopardizing their ability to control others. Like the people that we want to expose, the people who live so well off taxpayers.
Yeah,
they
many
just
of them are
fly in beautiful
like
jets.
David Hogg's FBI dad, right? No, I wonder if there's any connections there, right?
Or the British royal family, or all like the members of Congress, and the Senate. Like all these people live off taxpayer money, and like the ones who aren't fighting for liberty, they're literally forcing you to fund their efforts to oppress you and steal from you even more. Like how sick is that? It is very advanced though, right? It's governments themselves have also evolved in terms of how they manipulate people, and they've become very sophisticated. They have their own scientists that they either kidnap or hire and get them to figure out what makes a human controllable. How do you morph a human being to kind of like act all erratic like you want, or whatever, so
right. And what you said is true. I mean, there's a declassified history in terms of the government doing experimentation on people, biological or mind control experiments, MK Ultra and so forth. Those things I think are the tip of the iceberg, at least in my experience, because I'm a lawyer and also have study that specific arena of law with national security law. So, there is a lot of stuff going on with the deep state that we don't even know about in terms of what they're working on, for control of the population, because they get through 35 USC 181, they get to take any patent they want out of the patent office and silence anybody who's made it. So the government does have some crazy stuff.
You can't even expose what they did to you.
They gag you. So, and I know one person who's been gagged, and I've read other cases in addition. It's crazy. When you read up on that, it will make you so angry.
Purposefully keeping the world and people stunted, in their capacity.
And they say, "Oh, it's weapons," but I can tell you from firsthand experience, nope, it ain't all weapons. They are any technology that will sufficiently advance people beyond the government's control.
That makes me think, as we're talking about this is like the fundamental difference between the mindset of a statist, authoritarian, or somebody who's a voluntarist. One is seeking to maximize the potential for others and give them maximum freedom to decide how they want to live and enjoy their lives, so long as they don't infringe and violate anyone else. It's just a very simple philosophy and principle and it's based on a mindset of recognizing that others have the desire to live life to the fullest that you do and love their family and, build something, acquire wealth, have families, leave a legacy, whatever. Compared to the statist authoritarian mindset, which looks down on everyone else, sees everyone, maybe not everybody, but certain groups at least, as like scum, as just shouldn't be allowed to exist, taking up scarce resources, living their stupid little lives that they shouldn't be living. Like, there's legit people who think like that. And that, to me, is the fundamental difference. I mean, you have these statists who are calling for gun control. You have statists who are saying things like, well, why do you need a mag with 30 rounds? You trying to kill somebody?
Oh my God.
Like, these are the kind of people, who don't want you to live your best life. They don't want you to sing that song. Living your best life. We're like, sing that song. But they're like, no, I'm going to live my best life at your suffering. Give me your money because you're stupid and you don't know how to take care of your own property. So give it to me. I'm, the state or whatever. We're for gun control, but we want the state, these people, to have lots of guns. Okay. Hear me out. It's like, it's so nuts. And that is the fundamental divide. You have love from the side of libertarians and voluntarists and anarchists, and you have just hate and just a desire, oddly enough, the people who are like, I'm against hate speech, are so hateful themselves. They're extremely hateful and they call for violence as well. And they're extremely collectivist, which is a form of racism, because racism is just collectivism. So if you just look down on people because of one trait that's not tied to their actions whatsoever, well, there you go. You're like a racist in my mind. You're another form of a collectivist. And yeah, so, that's what we're fighting against. These people who twist language, who say that even though they're acting with hate and they're literally advocating for violence against peaceful people, they want you to believe the complete opposite. They want you to believe that they're glorious. I mean, look at every dictator who's ever come to power. Their rhetoric is not, I want to slaughter millions of people. That would be, sorry, this White Claw is great. I'm just like a third done.
Ain't no laws in the cows.
Ain't no laws. Just kidding, there are laws. Yeah. FBI watching.
Yeah. Right.
I pay my taxes.
Yeah.
I just don't like what you're doing.
They take taxes. We don't pay taxes.
Right. But yeah, anyway, so.
Yeah. So no, it's just great stuff. And it just ties back to the fact that that's what we're fighting up against here. And that's why, we're making a plea to you. And that is that we really see this as a last stand. There's no way around this, because when you look at how there's a coalition among all the left, right, false paradigm, but there's a real coalition of both Republicans, Democrats, the people in power. There's a coalition of them wanting to literally destroy every last shred of our fundamental rights.
And just control
what's left. Where do you go from there? It doesn't matter what happens. It's just going to be statism, times 10. It's going to be something that is so far beyond our worst imaginations. And it's going to, just like, of course, in past types of democides, it's going to spring from stage 1, a demonization of groups of people. Stage 2, a diagnosis of mental health, or there's something wrong with them. Stage 3, you start picking off little individuals who also have some, unsavory characteristics, so people kind of go with it. And then you're going to have eventually just rounding up people, like in China, they've rounded, millions of people up to put them in re-education camps or just concentration camps. Or you have like North Korea, where literally people are just...
Thanks so much, Modern Renaissance.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much. Yes. People literally are, from cradle to grave, being completely controlled. They literally have to like secretly watch things on their TV at night to, get away from, the propaganda of the North Korean government, because they've been disarmed, they've been disenfranchised in every single possible way,
you can
really
see
economically.
Some very,
it's crazy.
Deep and like intimate interviews with defectors, they're called, which seems like a derogatory term. Escapees, victims. You can see interviews of them on like Asian Boss. We watched that.
Yeah.
And they talk about this one girl in particular. I remember her specifically. She said like she had to cover the glow of her old TV, by the way, like super old, right?
CRT
like what was
TV.
In the 90s or something. Like cover the glow, because there's soldiers walking next to her window.
Yeah.
That's scary. That's like,
real PC control, right? That's when you get PC culture to the extreme.
That's what we're trying to say, is we need to, before it gets there, fight back, counter propaganda, ideas, because it really is about changing minds. And, that's related to how a lot of people say, okay, we got to literally like go fight and like go out. And it's like, no, hold up. You need to defend, you need to build, and you need to defend. And in the meantime, we need to change minds, because that's always been what it takes. The tyrants all throughout history, what did they do? The reason they had certain words in what they said to people, and the reason why they didn't say, I want to just murder a bunch of people and I hate capitalists. No, they're like, no, these capitalists are evil, and like, I want to save the working class. They have this rhetoric to make them appear like a savior. And guess what? They change people's minds, and they get people to change and, for them, commit some of the worst atrocities, like in the cultural revolution, or like mass murder campaign by Mao Zedong. You have these people who, he changed the minds of these young kids, and they killed so many people, like hundreds of people, and took their property. And so,
or like in Darfur, like what you're saying is like Darfur and children's soldiers, right? What do those governments and basically wanting to be military armies do? They go for young people, they intentionally trauma bond them and turn them into killers.
They're new to the world. They have no compared to what. So you giving them food, and they don't even get that you're whatever.
And that's what's happening in public schools right now. Is they're turning the kids into killers, but instead of being killers by giving them a gun, like a Sudanese kid, they're giving them the gun of the vote. They're giving them the gun of the vote to do for the police to go and point the guns. And I cannot express enough how critical it will be to reach out to young people, middle school, high school, college. If you don't see that significance, that is the next battleground, because they've been told, oh yeah, just go walk out for March for Our Lives. Guns are bad. Go, disarm yourself. I mean, we have seen literally, in what I think is the first time in at least American history, young people who are marching out ignorantly or willingly to demand that they have their rights taken away. Okay. We're not talking about, the revolutions of the, 60s and stuff like that with demanding rights. We're talking about them being so indoctrinated, they're being told to demand that their rights are taken away before they even have them. They can even use them. It's crazy. And really quick, just Modern Renaissance Man, he said, I recommend that everyone who follows Jack and Fudd give now and fund their vision. Let's get $600 to them tonight. I mean, that would be amazing, because that would let us, go ahead and very quickly move forward on doing that, corporate structure, so we can get that ball rolling. We do have a little bit of time in terms of, a few months before things start to get a little bit tighter, but because obviously next year's 2020 election, we want to make sure we can get it out at least a month in advance of November, so that people can see it. There can be a little media cycle and buzz with at least that video, if not more. But it's urgent. There's no way around this. If we do not change minds, if you're watching with us and you're of like mind, any one of us who values individual liberty, who values the freedom to be able to, have guns and enjoys them, even if it's just passively, you just shoot here and there, whatever. The government is going to basically say you're a terrorist, that you're an evil person, that you're, of the worst sort, and that you should be murdered or locked up if you don't get rid of your guns immediately. And this is something that I think is on par with any kind of Holocaust in human history. It doesn't matter, whether, race, religion, this or that, nationality. This is the same thing. It's of the same kind of concept that if you value psychologically individual liberty, individual rights, and the ability for you to defend yourself, your loved ones, that you're somehow an evil person. And I cannot imagine a more sinister plot to kill off without a bat of an eye all of America's, warrior men, the men who would stand up because they love, their family, they love their wives, they love their girlfriends, whoever it is that, is in their life. They care about them and they want to practice and be able to defend them or defend themselves. They want to kill off those people who would stand as a threat to those in power, because that's all that's left, really. The government has the apparatus in terms of the war apparatus. They have the apparatus and the media control. The last thing is the people who would actually
printing money, counterfeiting money,
right?
And their standards.
Exactly. It's the last stand against total tyranny. So, this is something that we just know that, it's scary, because I'm nervous myself, because it puts us at risk to do this kind of stuff. Because when you go to that next level, you get on the radar. Right now we're not really, I don't think we're on the radar of like Moms Demand Action or March for Our Lives. I don't think they give 2 cents of, whatever about us, even though our content has reached millions of people and we have the metrics to show it's literally reached millions of people across the world, and has even started some interesting cultural shifts in other countries that we didn't even expect. But we're not really on their radar. They're on the NRA, issue. They're looking at Republicans or Trump. They're not looking at
thanks, Colin.
People. So, yes, thank you, Colin, for your support. He says, what kind of scenario for the video? The scenario for the video is literally just showing in a very dramatized way that I think is actually not as hyperbolic as it seems.
Especially
because we have evidence
stories,
for this, of what happens to very peaceful, loving families when their neighbors decide to, or no one in their neighborhood decides to call the cops to them and say,
just because of something
they're doing, they have
because they have a Make America Great Again, like whatever, they have American flag, or they have the Second Amendment sticker,
or not that, but more specifically like a sticker on the car that says something related to gun rights. So basically, we want to show how this will be used to murder loving families, because it's going to happen, and it's already happened in other ways. Already, at least one person has been killed in Maryland for red flag law. We already are watching, the not as violent stuff of people, being arrested for such things. So we know that it is going to be just a very short matter of time before this becomes a thing, right? Where those who hate gun grabbers, they're vitriolic, they realize they might be able to get away with making some false reports. They might be able to get away with a little bit of exaggeration, right? Just enough to get the cops to come on over and kick down a door. And we want to show that reality, because that is what's going to happen, is that there are going to be innocent, men, women, and even children who are murdered because of red flag laws and nosy neighbors who are, whatever bent you want to call them, but they're collectivists, they're big statists, they are anti, gun, whatever you want to say. They are crazy or evil enough to want to, or to risk giving a little call to the cops and making a little report, even if it's not exactly true, but enough that the cops will kick down the door anyway. We want to show exactly what's going to happen. So I think it's going to be beautiful, because obviously getting to shove it right back in their face when they say, oh, you like guns, you're a terrorist, you're a murderer, you got blood in your hands. We're going to put it back on their hands, because that's where it is. Like, that's where the blood is. The blood's on their hands. We as peaceful gun owners, we don't hurt anybody. We're not shooting anybody. They want police to come and murder people and pry guns to their cold dead hands. We want to show that.
We're going to do what they did, and that's what we want to produce is, create an emotional appeal video and dramatization with actors. And it's not going to be me standing in front of the camera and like saying what the points are and saying the assertions with the evidence and the arguments. Is just going to be like a scenario shown to them of the nature of red flag laws. So we really want to show that you can have it's not just about, okay, this person really was a criminal or whatever, and they really were going to be a murderer or whatever, and the neighbor got him, whatever. That there are scenarios, there are going to be people, and that the people who advocate for red flag laws will have blood on their hands, and the ones who do already, like the people who have died and the people whose property has been confiscated, the people who are imprisoned for what? For just owning property, they didn't do anything violent.
Right. And this is especially true of states.
So that's what we want to show, right, is this time, it's not going to be the lie. It's not going to be like what they do. It's going to be a truthful depiction about the nature of what they're advocating the government to do, right, and the nature of the power that they want the government to have.
And this is especially true, again, given the context, and there's already things like this that have happened historically, whatever you want to go to, and Bundy Ranch and so forth, whatever. There has been historical examples showing that the government is willing to, I should say more specifically, police or, enforcement officers are willing to murder people, cover up evidence, pretend that there was some other evil thing, try to paint someone as evil in some way, like pull up some tweet from 10 years ago and be like, oh, see, they were just evil. Mm-hmm. There is going to be a literal psychological warfare being mounted. And we want to show that the innocent, regular people of America who happen to have guns to defend themselves are going to be literally shot to death. We want to show that on camera. And we want to show it in a way that shows it just in the same kind of depiction that they would paint someone because they're an NRA member or a SAF member or whatever, GOA member. Yeah. We want to show that in a very quick, but also high production quality video short. So that, that would be the ultimate goal.
I would love to do that. Mm-hmm. So thank you. Thank you for that question and for your contribution. Anyone on Facebook. So the ways you can support us, you can go to YouTube and send us a super chat. You can also go to Bitbacker. All of these are linked on my website, thephilosopher.com. And you can just go to the support page there. So thephilosopher.com/support. And those are all the different ways. It lists my Bitbacker. There's also, if you want to do a monthly contribution, that will also help separately with being able to improve our production quality. We've improved our mic several times, but we want to take it to yet the next level, like, the next price tier and therefore the tier and quality. So talking a few hundred to have that crisp, very crisp audio, that you like when you listen to a very nice podcast. So we want to do that. Improve our camera equipment for photography and also for shooting videos as well. Have better lighting too. Some of you have mentioned, light up my hair from the top.
Key light, yeah.
Key light.
We're getting there.
Install something like that. So if you want to help that way. Oh, thanks, Colin. Wow.
No, and that even every little bit helps again because we're also contributing to this ourselves. Obviously, it comes out of our time resources. Yeah. We are, contributing financially to this. So it's not like, oh, we're just, blindly asking for people.
But everything helps.
Every little thing helps. So because it's a big endeavor.
It allows us to focus our attention more. So instead of like hustling over here, we can just be like, ooh, now we can do the project. Like,
right. Working extra hours or doing this or that. Yeah. It does help. So, I mean, again,
everything is appreciated. So again, monthly contributions with Patreon, subscribe to our Bitbacker. There's also perks with that. You can check it out on any of those pages. Again, thephilosopher.com/support. You can see it all there. T-shirts, Libertarian Country. I always share on weekdays. Happy Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Sunday Gun Day. But you can support through just getting shirts, swag, Liberty swag. So those are the ways. And also follow me on YouTube. You can get notified of updates. Follow my Instagram. On Facebook, you can set the page to see first when you follow somebody, whichever where you are, like Twitter. I don't know if they have that, but so stay up to date. We'll be announcing, obviously as we acquire the funds to start first the preliminary steps of getting our house in order, so to speak, for you Peterson fans. But we'll get everything in order, legality wise, whatever, and then get it set up. And then keep an eye out for when we'll start fundraising for the actual dramatic video. So
right, because again, we have to do the preliminary steps so we can make sure that we're good and set, and then of course with everything, it's very important to us we do things efficiently, effectively. We want to be respectful of everybody's time and their resources. We obviously don't want to squander things or go off onto things that are outside the scope. We're very narrowly focused. We work hard to make sure that we're maximizing whatever support we get. And that whatever we're going to do is going to be effective, for the medium. So we're not going to, just use podunk cameras or anything like that. We're going to work with higher end companies who are able to deliver that high quality product you'd expect of any type of mainstream, commercial in terms of, cinema quality and color grading and editing, things like that.
Like a movie, you feel like you're watching a movie.
Right.
Like
paying actors for the specific roles and all that good stuff. Because again, we want to make sure that whatever's done makes the gun grabbers
professional actors.
Right.
I do some acting here and there, but I'm
real people who actually will look credible on screen.
Serious.
Right. Yeah. So again, and that's really important because we really want. Thank you again, Colin.
You said that's an army term. That's everything. Okay.
So we want to make sure that whatever we do, again, it is done right. It's done respectfully people's time and resources, and it's done in a way that is effective. And again, we just want to put these gun grabbers on the defensive. We want Moms Demand Action to freak out. We want March for Our Lives and David Hogg to feel exposed and be like, and we want him to retweet this stuff out of anger, be like, show them some hate, because that just means we got under his skin, right? When they're having to be on the defensive, we're doing our jobs here, right? Because if you watch anything David Hogg does and stuff, as he's the mouthpiece for the gun grabbers right now. It's all just assertions and emotional, statements. There's no facts, no logic, no anything about the nature of what he's advocating for in terms of, real human life cost. We want to just turn it on his head. We want him to be so scared to even say anything anymore because he's going to be too busy defending that, he's not really, advocating for this. We want them to be on the defensive.
And all the politicians.
So, we want them to be on the defensive and be like, well, wait, we don't really mean that. We don't really mean that we're going to just be, blowing, the heads off of mothers and fathers. No, except that's really what happens.
Because this is, we don't have a voice. Like, I'm so tired of seeing commercials and movies and TV shows demonizing gun owners. Like demonizing people who criticize the government, demonizing people who criticize the narrative on any particular topic, the mainstream narrative on any particular topic, so I just want to actually just fight back in the way that I can, before it's time to defend.
Right. We don't want it to come to that. I don't want it to come to that. That's the goal. I want things to be peaceful. I want things
we have a short window right now, and
right.
People are not going to feel it anyway. Most people aren't feeling revolution. Most people are feeling like, okay, yeah, they steal from me, but
right.
You know what I mean? They're like, I can kind of like live a little free, so they're not going to feel like, we need to take up arms. Plus, it's like, depends on what you're calling for, but I want people to defend their homes and their property and other lives. So, But yeah, so in the meantime, we can battle in the realm of ideas while we still have a relatively open internet, while we have still the chances to develop alternative social media sites and just launch them on the internet, like right then and there, like Minds and Steam It and BitChute and Gab, whatever. While we still have that chance to fight back peacefully, we should really take advantage of it. And the way that we've been doing it is in the media realm. A lot of people have their own specific areas that they go into. But, we're focused on the media counter propaganda realm.
And there's two things I want to mention as relates to that that's very important to take note of. I think we have, a big advantage. And that advantage is that we're not tied to some pre-existing corporate bureaucracy, right? We're not tied to whatever the NRA directors are doing. We're not tied to whatever SAF or FPC, whatever they're doing. We are free.
Right, and being dictated and
we are
like,
free.
Hey, we gave you money. You need to do this
to make that controversial statement. We don't have to hold back.
Hold back. Ooh,
right. Oh yeah. Oh, that might alienate some more donors. We don't care. We don't have to worry about that because we can actually sit there and just color these gun grabbers for what they are, which they are.
We've been doing for the past 3 years. I mean, the people who don't like us are just hit unfollow.
Right. We are not beholden to some other corporate organization where we have to hold back. So I think that's a huge advantage for us. And two, we're not looking to do what all the other major, gun groups and stuff like that are doing. They're doing their thing. They're great in terms of legal stuff or firearms training or, whatever else, like defense distributed, doing 3D printing stuff. We're not looking to do what they're doing. We're just looking to do the messaging part, which is, something that I think is so crucial and so hard to do. But I think that if you're here because you realize that what we are doing here is unique, is powerful, and is able to break through a lot of the lies of the gun grabbers in, I think, an effective way. And we want to bring that to that next level and show you that we can really do some damage media-wise to these gun grabbing groups. We want them to literally be terrified because they're going to be like, did the NRA fund this? Where'd this come from? They're going to be so clueless.
Yeah, and to do that, unfortunately, we need to fundraise.
Yeah.
They're
going to have no one to demonize. They're going to have nobody because they have no idea even how to take it on. They're going to not even get it. And by
talking about it brings our version of the narrative into the mainstream sphere. Even if they're calling us names or whatever and saying we're crazy, because they're at least showing parts of it. It might get people, just like when they covered Alex Jones. People like Alex Jones.
Right. By banning Alex Jones, they ended up causing more publicity. It's the Barbara Streisand effect, right? By talking about the fact and complaining about the fact something happened. Right. So it's this effect when, you bring attention by, complaining about something to something where you weren't wanting to bring attention to it, but by complaining about it, then people start following it. So.
Oh, thanks, Colin.
So Colin says, I really can't stand that David Hogg, that Hogg guy.
Camera hog.
Camera hog, right?
Nice. I came across Philosopher on Minds. Oh, so it's getting out. Cool. Dude, I love Minds. Minds is awesome. I really like their token system and their boost system.
Right.
It's really cool. It's good for
anyway. Yeah.
So thank you so much.
And,
that really helps.
That's
all right,
we're getting
closer to the goal.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I have to work in the shoe sweatshop anymore. My mom's mom's restaurant. You know, I can take some time off.
But yes, no, that really makes a big difference because
getting excited. I mean, I am so when I had this giddy feeling when I launched ANCAP Grind, because I've never done that. I've never done just a rap music video.
Right. So again, for those of you who are not familiar, again, ANCAP Grind was a music video we produced. And obviously she's not, trying to be the next leading rapper Eminem or something. But if you see the production quality, you can see that even though
I'm trying to be a rapper.
Right, she's trying to be a rapper. But you can see there that we understand how to, orchestrate and get some things together to make rap. Again, we want to get professional actors who will look even better on screen in terms of how they present and stuff like that. But that's going to take some effort, some coordination, some resources. But we can do it. We have the know-how. I have many years.
Thanks, Chris. That, so. He didn't. There's no message, but thank you.
Oh yes, thanks, Primus. Yes, thank you, Chris. Yeah, he supported. Yeah, I guess we missed it because he didn't put a message in. But thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.
But we are actually. That's really encouraging because really, this is something that it terrifies me.
We gotta show them that like we can do it. We can come together.
We can. Why can't? Here's what I don't get. Why can't we, when all these gun grabbing groups are getting millions of dollars from all these different people,
and they're persuading huge corporations like Facebook,
and they're getting they're getting the corporate donors. Walmart, they're getting the big longtime Democrat donors. This is just it is unreal. But the cool part is that we can do on a shoestring budget what would take them millions because they have to work through all their bureaucracy and whatever not-for-profits or 501c4s they have to do. We don't have to deal with that. Yeah. We work in a for-profit realm. Yeah. We work small, but we work efficient. We work effectively, and we can take what you support us with and do 10 times, 20 times more what those other people can do. And I think you've seen it because if you've been around, you've seen the content. We've done it. We've been able to take very little and do quite a bit, kind of like the Mises Institute, but
take a little and do a lot.
Yeah, I do. These institute in terms of scholarly impact for the amount of money they have per year is very impressive. And that's what we try to do too, is we don't have a lot of budget, but we do a lot with it.
Oh, look at these fiscally responsible people.
That's what we're trying to do. We want to have integrity. We want to show you that it's worth it. Right. We want to prove ourselves to you, and hopefully, through the memes and the videos and other stuff and the improvements over time, you've seen that we're serious. We're here to stay. We care about liberty. We care about individual rights. We care about, voluntary human interactions, and we are not going to stand by idly and let those in state power disarm everybody. I'm not having another Holocaust in my watch. I don't care. You know what I mean? It's just not happening, because that's literally what is going to happen. And there's going to be mass murder of people who just are doing nothing more than wanting to be free and enjoying their property rights. That's
at least we'll do everything we can to prevent one.
So we're,
I was telling you, and it reminds me of the Avengers. Hopefully you've seen it by now, or at least have seen a meme of the scene that I'm about to say. So it's not a spoiler, but
spoilers. Avengers. So everybody's seen Avengers.
They should have seen. Okay, well, too bad. Get with the tabs. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to shame you, even though I did. It was a joke, but you know how Doctor Strange. Blame the claw.
Blame the claws.
What claw? Sorry, I don't know why. Seen a lot of Dave Chappelle. Okay, I grew up on that. Anyway, so shoot, remind me.
I don't even know. Okay, I wasn't in your head, so I can't tell you what thought you just had before the claws took over.
Come back the thought. No. Anyone?
We promise we'll only drink White Claws after the production is done.
Okay, wait, let me go back. White Claw.
It was way before White Claw.
I know. This is serious. This is 5%.
Well, before that, if you want to know what I was talking about, I said I'm not going to let another Holocaust happen on my watch, no matter what. You know what I mean? I'm not letting that happen.
Yes.
I'm going to. You know what I mean? This is just.
Oh, I remember now. Yeah, Vendor spoilers.
Vendor spoilers. There we go. Say okay.
Arigato.
No one saved us in the comments.
I started speaking Japanese when I have White Claws. One of the things I do.
Oh, there you go. Joe, thank you, Joe.
Avenger scene. Thank you.
There's one sober person in the comments at least.
Sober.
There's one sober
Hey, it's
person.
a Friday. Don't blame.
Yes. Thanks for hanging with us on a Friday. Even though we're sad topics, but yes, Avengers.
So that scene, it's like you have Doctor Strange and, they're all at a table and then they're like, well, he's like, okay, I went through all like a gajillion scenes in my head and possibilities because he's able to do that.
14,605,000.
Wow. Millions.
Nerds here. Sorry, guys.
14,605,000. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for the.
Some of us are extra nerdy here.
Yeah. Or you're just good at remembering the specific details. But yeah. So he just says like, okay, how many of them were we successful? I mean, that's like 600 something million. Right?
No, it was one. They were only successful in one.
No, but there were 600 and something million possibilities.
Oh, 14,605,000.
And only one. There was what? Not a billion.
These White Claws, man.
And you know what? I love that moment because everyone in the room was like, 1 out of 600 something million. 1 out of that much. Like, compared to what? Do I fight and maybe die, or do I bow down and be a tax slave and maybe I live, I don't know, whatever they're thinking, you know, but I just live a slave.
Live like Australians? Hell no. You think I'm going to live like an Australian? That's a big no for me.
Live and hide. And,
hate speech laws, gun bans.
That ain't happening. China. I mean,
that would be a disgrace to George Washington and Patrick Henry.
I feel a lot of kinship to Hong Kongers, maybe because a
Laozi.
lot of them are Cantonese speaking Chinese people who escaped Mao Zedong's Cultural Revolution, just like my family did. So maybe I feel that kinship, but also feel kinship in a lot of the ideas that a lot of the protesters are espousing, which is, they recognize that things can radically shift from the standard, albeit not the most libertarian or whatever, but they've been championed for so long as the freest market economy in the whole world, and they got to experience that extreme abundance from that relatively free trade compared to much, other countries. So, I wish I could read that. So super chat, Lala Duty.
Lala Duty incarnate. Let's see.
Did you make this account to make me laugh?
Okay. We're going to try to translate this.
Okay, I want to know. So Mao Zedong quote, I want to know what he said.
He put it in.
Thanks, Derek.
The political power is in the guns. Politics is a bloodless war. War is bloody politics. So he did a Mao quote there. But not to praise Mao, but to remind us of the fact of the nature of politics.
What did he say again? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
You're killing me, Smalls. So the political power is in the guns. Politics is a bloodless war. Wars is bloody politics. So basically, just saying that guns are really politics. Politics is not, in terms of government, is not really about the words. I mean, it's about them using guns against people.
He's accurate in that way.
He's accurate, of course.
When it comes down,
lots of mass murderers have said some accurate stuff about their evil stuff.
Well, unless you're the initiator, then you're kind of like initiating the war. You're the one causing it. So instead of living in peace, you're choosing to initiate the violence. So
right.
But yeah, and but true. Thank you, Lala Duty. Incarnate. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Lala Duty. That's a hilarious term. Okay. Wow. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Someone said that came out wrong, and that's hilarious. Oh, someone said, "Are you taking calls? I want to three-way with you guys." I think you mean a call.
I don't know about how that works. I don't know if that's
like
call
kind of
or
like how Maj Toure has a call-in show.
Right. Yeah. Well, you'd have to be friends with me on Facebook if you feel.
We could pull you in like we did Mikey Wong.
Yeah, but that involved. Yeah. But in any case, no matter what. The more important thing is just for those who came later who may have missed the beginning, again, just a reminder, our goal here is we really do see that this is a very much a last stand before what could become one of the most violent acts of the federal government, maybe since even, either a draft or gold confiscation or FDR.
U.S. federal government.
Yes, in terms of U.S. federal government. If they pass a federal red flag law, it would be devastating, as it's already been shown in states right now. And we are trying to push back on that.
Would be nuts, all 50 states.
It'd be really.
It's so crazy. Hard to leave America. It's easy to move between states. It's really hard to leave as a U.S. citizen.
Right.
You go through like all these audits of like your income tax, like making sure that you pay all your taxes.
Right.
And then you got to pay like thousands. And the stupid extortion fee, long waiting period.
Right. So basically, we are trying to we're trying to do three things, which is one, we're trying to make a film, not a film like a feature like thing, but like a little short, but it's dramatic short, in order to basically take the gun grabbers' rhetoric and the way they frame people who just like guns and are peaceful and put it down their throats and put them on the defensive. We want to also create a decentralized protest leading up to 2020.
Who wants to join in on that? That would be awesome. Like, what if we, like, how powerful would that be? Like, people just see, like, oh, guess what? They post on social media, like, I just see, like, these random people here and there with these signs that say, like, taxation is theft, government is violence, gun control is gun violence. Like, like, we got to do that. And because it's decentralized, there's not a single organization they can just go after and attack. They can just be like, oh, shoot, that's an individual. It's not like a whole group. And they also can't claim, oh, you're blocking traffic, because you won't be. You'll just be on your own corner. People are still walking through.
Or you can go with some friends, just whatever it is. And again, there won't be a way to like
block the traffic,
target people at any particular corner, something like that. So I think that will, obviously be much more effective in a wider sense of raising awareness and also avoiding some problems of, centralizing, that kind of protest. And then lastly, we also want to target, in terms of our messaging, young people, because again, a big part of the gun grabber movement,
huge war for their minds.
Is trying to warfare for their minds, especially through public school indoctrination, especially through March for Their Lives, and trying to pull kids out of school and tell them, yes, give up your rights before you even can legally use them. It's just nuts. We want to go and tell them the truth and get them to critically think.
Teach them to discern truth from falsehoods. Teach them what it means to have a methodology where you can just analyze things and try to, in the most clearest and specific terms, explain, reality, and then look for any contradictions in, what you believe. Like, we really want to teach that ability to sift through all the different things that come at you every single day.
Right. And then more specifically too, we really would like to create a video that is tentatively titled like, "Dear high schoolers, your teachers are lying to you." Something of that nature, where we go through the facts and get them to realize that their teachers are lying to them by and large about the nature of guns and uses and in terms of dangers and threats. We want to, put the facts in their hands so that they get to see firsthand that their oppression.
A counter view.
Right.
Instead of just being fed one view and having this other side, completely hidden from them, so they can't even make their own decision about reality. Like, somebody should be able to sift through all the evidence and knowledge available to them, to the world, and like you can on the internet, which is so beautiful about it. People just sharing ideas and information, and we want to offer that counter perspective so they can at least, at the very least, just contemplate whether they believe it or not, and consider their reasons for why they believe what they believe. Not that we're going to convert everybody, but at the very least, they are prompted to think through their reasons for why they believe in gun control or whatever. So
right, we're not expecting, of course, we're not going to change everybody's minds, but we do think we're going to change enough minds to tilt it just enough to continue doing more work and changing more minds.
And for future minds who are changed, now we also have an arsenal of media, articles, memes, videos that they can share, if they change too, and be able to contribute to the intellectual, library of libertarian freedom philosophy, and really counter it. So
right, and that's the thing is, it's something that is going to take a lot of work. We get that. It's not easy. We know we are up against some of the most well-funded, politically connected people you can imagine, and they don't
funded by bankers, funded by governments,
right. We know that very much so, we put ourselves out there, in going in this direction. Because again, right now we're not tooting our horns here. I don't think, people generally would know who we would be otherwise, outside of kind of the alt sphere. But we know that if we do what we're about to do,
we're more known in libertarian circles than not like mainstream.
Right. It's going to put us into a spotlight where we know we're going to get attacked. And we need to prepare for that, both in terms of, how we structure what we're going to do and also just make sure everything else is secure, because it's going to happen. And so in many ways, we're just saying, we're going to take the arrows to go forward with this. And so, if you want to vicariously live through us while not having to exactly face those arrows yourself, by all means, please join in support with that, and empower us to be your voice in taking on all the lies and sophistry and manipulations that are coming out from all these different gun grabbing groups and all these politicians and all these, academics, right, who are just literally spouting off assertions without reason or evidence, and they call themselves academics, which is horrible. I mean, it is, it's maddening. We want to be your voice out there, in a way that the other groups just can't touch. The NRA is not going to touch it like we're going to touch it. Even GOA and stuff like that's not going to do the kind of video content we're going to put out that's going to make these gun grabbing groups go, ooh. It's going to be hard to come back from that one. So
someone's like, you're better off asking people for Bitcoin.
That's true. We accept Bitcoin, all other stuff, and support. Absolutely. If you're a crypto person,
it's on my website, thephilosopher.com.
Yeah, you can do Philosopher, you can do Volcom, whatever it is. We would do Bitcoin, especially for Bitcoin's not really anonymous right now. If you know how the chain can be traced, you're going to have to run that through a few things. Double VPNs plus a burner laptop. And then maybe something, like a certain security coin of sorts, maybe two. But in any case,
I don't like living.
Yeah, if you want to just, again, keep that distancing, it's a wise idea. If you want to support us, again, you can. You can use crypto to do that, and that's absolutely totally fine.
Yeah, I have BAT
on BAT. We do that too. We do all that good stuff. And again, it's absolutely essential because
using Brave right now.
It's going to take a lot of support.
Yeah,
it's gonna, we are working.
And we'll stay up to date, obviously.
Yeah,
we'll have more videos.
Right.
You can. One of the best ways you can stay up to date, and if you want to hear from me directly, I do a monthly live stream hangouts. The Modern Renaissance is there. Zach Lukowski, you guys have heard of him in all my videos by now, and some of the other producers sometimes come. But yeah, so we all hang out and we talk about the latest things that are happening once a month. So if you want to hang out there, you can share ideas too. I love going and hearing other people's opinions on what the next steps are for spreading freedom. So it's a great place. Or if you just want to help me choose my next video topics, you can just check out Patreon, subscribe to our Bitbackers. So that's another way you can support us. And you can see on Patreon, there's certain goals that I have. Same thing with, well, actually not on Subscribe, sorry, but on Patreon, you can see it's the same goals.
Yeah.
We want to improve our equipment, like we said. We want to really improve the quality. I'm just finding that's such a big part of it, you know. Like even when I study my own psychology, when I'm looking through videos, I'm more inclined to keep watching a video that's produced very well, like visually very well, and the sound quality is like so crisp, you know. And that I just can't help but be turned off and like, ugh, when the audio is like one-sided or it's like too quiet and the sound effects are too loud, like, you know. So we really want to keep improving it. We've done a lot of good steps. We improved our lighting, improved our mic. We've had like 3 different mics, no 4. I used to use my phone. Now we have a DSLR camera. And yeah, so we want to just take it to the next level.
And I think that even just with the sport that we've already had tonight, I mean, that's absolutely fantastic because it's putting us very close to what we need to do next, which is, again, get those corporate structures done so that we can go ahead and actually formally do a fundraiser to get the funds for doing the film. So thank you, everybody who has already supported, you know, through, you know, the direct YouTube, you know, super chats here, because that really, you know, every single dollar here really does do a lot. So once we do that, which should be within the next couple of months, we should be able to finalize all that paperwork and get it going. Then we'll come forward and say, okay, here's our vision. We'll have it storyboarded. So we'll hire some artists to do some storyboards to kind of like, you know, get a sense of what we should do for the shots. Yeah. We're going to price that out, you know, talking to some of my industry contacts in terms of, you know, just seeing what's going to work, you know, location wise and footage wise in terms of what equipment they'll use and how many people are going to need. Actors and so forth. But, you know, this is something we've done, and I've done personally many times. I've worked on many different sets.
Music video,
a very long history with that. So, yeah.
Music video was one example.
Right. And you've seen some of that other stuff, like when we choose to do the higher quality stuff, we work with somebody else, like the music video. Obviously, the footage there, the sound there is a little bit higher quality. But we would like to get to that point where, again, we want to just be your voice pushing back against these gun grabbers. We you know, when you get angry reading those comments of people in the threads saying, yeah, take their guns, some of that, you hear Mom's Man Ashton saying, yeah, they don't, you don't need to have a gun that shoots more than 8 rounds or something like that. We want to be the people that shoves their words right back down their throat. And that you watch that and you just smile as they can't do anything.
Well,
but
and expose their hypocrisy.
Yeah, we want to expose it all.
Expose their virtue signaling. Expose that it's fake. Expose that what they're really advocating for when they're, you know, saying that they're good and that it's to march for our lives and to save lives, that they're actually not saving lives because they're not actually preventing criminals who are determined to kill and harm people regardless of the laws that already exist that are against murder and theft, you know, that they're determined, like, these people, you know, are actually calling for violence against innocent people. They're calling for people who, it's a gun enthusiast and he's in his basement and he likes filling his own ammo, whatever, or he wants to create the next new gun style, whatever. They want those people to be raided and forced to the ground by men with guns pointed to their head, and will be okay if that person gets shot in the face and murdered by those police or feds or whatever, just for resisting. And being like, hey, you're in my home. It's 3 a.m., 2 a.m., or 2 p.m., whatever time. And, you know, you're initiating violence on me. Like,
I mean, the ATF has been abusing people for a long time, but it's about to get way worse.
But that's what we want to expose.
And we want to stop it.
You know, at the very least, what we're doing is building a bigger community of people with like minds who want freedom, who may, you know, you might be atheist, you might be religious, you might be whatever, you might be trans, you might be not wanting gay marriage, whatever. As long as you respect someone else's right over their own body and property, that's it. We can be neighbors, whatever. We can exchange ideas. You can even hate me and not want to talk to me. But as long as you don't initiate force on me, if we're united on that, then that's the kind of community that we want to build. So at the very least, by all this counter propaganda, media, memes that we've been doing, we're building a community of like-minded people all around the world, all around the United States. Maybe that's more relevant in the same state, you know, depending on where you're going. And at the very most, we can really affect
or at least
well, maybe not. Well, yeah, at the very most. I said at the very least, we can build a community.
Gotcha.
I know that we'll build at least a community. Maybe it's one more person. It's gonna be more than that.
It's gonna be way more than that.
But I'm just joking. But like, yeah, you can, in the very least, we can change minds, build a bigger community, and if poop hits the fan, we all come together in the same city.
But that's exactly it. That's the purpose
at the very
of it.
most, we actually can prevent the United States federal government from getting even more tyrannical, and potentially change culture so much that we actually get people into power who really want to just limit the government, and maybe just have government services be funded voluntarily, and actually get behind that plan to be like, hey, you shouldn't be extorted by default. Let's just not have a society based on extortion. Ooh, radical idea that we already agree to, except we make an excuse. Like, that's the most we can do. So everything you do, no matter what we do, I know that good will come of it. And this really is the revolution of our times. Like, the Hong Kongers, like, it's, approximately they're facing the Chinese government. We're facing the U.S. federal government. But all of us are facing the potential, the threat of global world government, and just tyranny in our own like governments themselves, like perpetually, and them coming together, even if they keep their respective controls and have separate countries, they'll still be aligned and like, okay, all governments around the world want gun control, for example. Like, that is essentially, to me, no different than like a one world government if they're all aligned in the same idea. So that's what we're fighting against, and I know that we can make a difference. So join us on Subscribestar, and follow us for our YouTube live streams. Super chats really help. T-shirts, merch, Bitbacker, crypto. So everything helps, and just stay tuned for what's coming up next, because we're here and we're ready. And if money's not a thing, just keep an eye out for when we're going to announce like decentralized protests, or organize your own. Get out there too. You can do the same thing. So everything's appreciated. So thank you.
Right. And exactly, because what is going to be coming up next, it's going to be a long road, but we want to take that idea of creating that kind of viral media in terms of that video and having that be the springboard specifically for getting and coalescing people together so that we're able to do bigger and better things, right? Like, the idea of doing the video is that starting point so that people say, oh, wow, these people can accomplish.
That's what the socialists are doing. That's what the March for Our Lives gun control advocates, Moms Demand Action, are doing. They're getting organized. They're coming together, and we can do the same tactics, but obviously what we're going towards is something ethical.
Right, obviously, yes.
But we're
throwing it in their face using their tactics,
yeah.
But our ultimate end is actually peace and non-initiation of
violence.
Leaving
people alone.
Right, leaving people alone to be free. And Modern Renaissance Man says SoCalCBDSamples.net. He said free sampling CBD oil, just pay for shipping.
Okay,
so he threw in a $5 just to give a little shout
out.
So SoCalCBDSamples.net, he said. So yeah, thank you so much for that. Again, every little bit helps, because we're just trying to get closer to that first pre-funding to get our structures done, so that we can actually like launch and have the security, have the privacy set. We want to make sure everybody's good, both for ourselves, because obviously people are going to want us dead, because we're doing things that
some guy
are going to not make them happy when it comes to.
No, legit, some guy. His name
is some guy. He says, because you're doing more work for gun rights in the NRA, have a drink on me. Thank you, some guy.
Okay,
thank
I'll
you.
get another drink.
Yes, no, seriously, thank you so much. Yeah, she get another claw. So yeah, it is making a serious difference. We promise to you, again, our commitment to you is that we are going to be great stewards of your support and your belief in us. We take that so seriously. It's like it's a very like
and growing
moral,
every
ethical
day.
thing for us.
We want to get better. I don't claim to have like all the powers of communication, persuasion, like
right.
I'm working on it. So give me that chance as well. And if you're one of my patrons and Subscribestarians or Bitbackerians, I listen more, because it's just like you're right there, and it's a lot easier to respond there than like all the floods of comments across all the pages. So go there if you want to influence me. If you have things that you think I should watch, like join Patreon, Bitbacker, Subscribestar, and I would love to hear whatever advice you have for me too on ways that I can improve. So
exactly, yeah, and that's another thing too, is we're always in a growth mindset. We're always trying to do better, and
constructive criticism is welcome.
Of course, as always, and we are always trying to again be principled through and through. There's no compromising with what we're doing, and that's again one of our advantages is we're not beholden to anybody. We're not being paid by some big corporate, whatever entity. We're not being paid by some multi-millionaire, billionaire from some whatever organization. It's literally just us. We are working.
Wish it was, though.
Right. We'll take that money to fight. No, but realistically, nobody's going to want to touch us because we're actually
too radical.
Right. We're too
non-PC.
We're too non-PC.
Any big corporation who has like stakes to lose, and
even gun manufacturer stuff who might even consider, I think, would be testy because we're so radically principled. We say no, you should not initiate force against people. Doesn't matter what they own in terms of property rights if they're not hurting another person.
A lot of people are like, taxation stuff.
Right.
That's a little much.
It's something that we understand. We in order to be that principled, we know we're not going to be favored by any major, big groups generally. You know what I mean? So we understand that this is grassroots. This is real grassroots support. So what you're doing is helping us.
You sound
be able
like
to
AOC, but again, she's using those tactics for her own ends.
Well, she had a great production team. AOC, the reason why she got into the power she did is obviously she didn't do it by herself, right? She had a great production team that did all her videos and, did all the little like
give
news
her
bits
advice
and stuff
on what to say, what to focus on.
Yeah. So and again, that's showing how someone who's like, this person that you may have not, cared for otherwise, if they have good production and they have good quality control, you can take them and kind of get them to a place where, in her case, maybe she shouldn't be there, right? But I mean, it's like with us, we're doing things that are for principled liberty, right? There's no compromises. We're never going to sell out on anything. Like that is against my fundamental moral fiber. I will never sell out.
Even people like AOC and stuff, they use that same rhetoric.
Right.
They use that same rhetoric. I'm not funded by corporate donors, all grassroots. Elizabeth Warren says that on her website. So does AOC, like all these people.
Right.
They recognize the appeal of somebody who's not beholden to special interests,
right. They're using that artifice to push forward that agenda.
And also, I was going to say, they also are very, the ones who are more successful, like I think, like Cortez, she's very successful with some people, and Bernie Sanders for a time before the whole presidential debate debacle, and Hillary Clinton. But like, because they were so radical in their message, and because they said things like, we won't compromise, like they got people to really believe them. I personally think out of ignorance, like not understanding philosophy and how to think critically, but they believed it nonetheless. And because they saw in their mind somebody who stuck to their espoused principles, even though the principles like, we should just have a $15 minimum wage. And that means like taxing people and extorting them. That's okay. Like, they might think that that's moral because it's painted to them as moral and consistent. Right. So we will show that we will be moral and consistent. And this is the argument for being moral and consistent and not watering down the message, because it is the most effective. Just be honest, tell the truth. Don't give in to the PC culture and mob. Don't change your message. Libertarian Party, I'm looking at you. Whoever runs it, whoever, like there's one guy, but there's a lot of people. But like, think about it. Like, you gotta stick to your principles. You show me your principles. That song I made,
right?
Like, it's a joke, kind of, but I was serious. Like, really, what matters is principles. What matters is what you're advocating to be done to other human beings for certain actions. And we just believe that it's all about body and property rights,
right?
But some people want to violate that. So,
and I think we also stick our skin out there enough in terms of what we say that, like, it's pretty clear we're not politicking, right? If I say taxation stuff, the ATF should be abolished, the NFA should be repealed.
I'm really not.
There should be no restrictions on any type of gun purchase whatsoever. Background checks are a violation. Okay, you can't come back for that, right? Like, if I'm politicking, you can't come back for that. I've already said all these things out there on the internet, right? That would kill me politically. Again, we're here for principles. That's it. We don't give a crap what people say or how you want to appear. It doesn't matter if it sounds radical or something like that. We don't care. The question is How are people treating each other? How are property rights being respected? How are people's right to bear arms and defend themselves in their homes, their loved ones being respected? If it's not being respected, we're going to speak out against it. We're going to take on people who are, trying to remove the individual right to bear arms. I mean, this is something that we are not going to stop, because if the government's going to turn us into felons, which that's exactly what these gun grabbing groups are looking to do. They're looking to make us felons. We're going to just take it. We're going to accept that, felony, whatever you want to just label as felons. Okay, whatever. We're going to keep going. We're not going to stop, because if you're going to make us felons, then too bad. Then we're going to earn it.
Programs,
we're going to earn it, baby.
AKA
Like, you know what I mean? You're going to make me a felon just for existing, and I haven't hurt anybody. I haven't stolen from anybody. I haven't shot anybody. I haven't done anything. You're going to make me a felon just because of existing?
You love,
I'm going to earn it then.
Defending yourself. It's like it's like villainizing someone just because they're like a 10th degree black belt in karate or something, or they love like judo or like Krav Maga. Like you're just like, oh my god, you must be like gonna beat up a bunch of people because you take Krav Maga. Oh my god, you go to Krav Maga 3 times a week.
You must want to fight.
You do it 3 times a week. You're obsessed. You're insane. Like these are how they think. Just because you're like, oh, I go to my local like firearms training academy and I love just training and preparing, whatever. Or like somebody said before, oh, I drive a 80 horsepower car.
800 horsepower.
Oh, sorry, 800 horsepower.
Yeah.
I'm not a car person. I mean, I love cars. I'm like not an expert, but like, 800 horsepower car. I'm like, why? Because I like it. That's why. And I'm not infringing on anybody else. So
right.
It doesn't matter. Like these same people who are like, oh, you should be able to marry whoever you want. You should be able to call yourself whatever gender you want. These same people are like, but you can't own whatever means you want to do.
Right.
So.
Yeah,
only
it's
we
like
can.
my machine
Only
gun
people.
identifies as a semi-auto, revolver. It identifies that. It's just ridiculous. Like, I mean, these same people who claim that, young people have all these different autonomies to be able to meaningfully pick what are very long-term mature decisions. Oh, but they can't own a gun. They can't shoot. It's horrible. Like, they can't possibly have the maturity to do that. The hypocrisy is just wild. And we're going to call it out. We're going to make these people look to be the loons that they are, because that's what it is. They're literally ethically insane, and they are really just liars through and through. There is nothing that they are saying that isn't predicated on lie or isn't just an outright lie.
It's like watching Joe Biden speak.
He just makes up stuff, makes up his like war stories that he never had. It's just crazy. So
these are the people we're up against. So thank you to everyone who's given tonight for the super chats. I guess we'll wrap it up soon. This has been fun to hang out. You've had 3 White Claws.
I'm only 3 claws.
I had 1.
This ain't nothing.
Someone has got me a drink, and thank you. I barely drink it. Cheers.
But yes, thank you for everybody who supported tonight. All the people who
and I'm excited. This really fills me with excitement. Thank you for helping us, because we're getting close, and we're gonna we can go ahead and start it. So
we're gonna definitely moving forward. So. We'll do some more live streams like this again. We're soft rolling this out, but we're dead serious, because we realize that this is it. Like, what, you know what I mean? If we don't do something, we're screwed.
Yeah, till the next election. I mean, there's all these organizations and people doing what they can, scrambling to try and change as many minds as they can and influence the voting. I get it. And we want to do what we can too, because
we don't trust or believe in the political system, but we do understand that it is used to rationalize violence. And we want people as a cultural norm to say, no, we're not going to rationalize this violence. We're not going to accept this. We're going to disobey. If you do this, we're going to secede. If you try to take people's guns, we're going to rally around them. Or
if you pass a law that we don't agree with, we're not going to obey, because it's wrong, because it's a violation of my life and my body and my property. So.
Exactly. We just want that culture of disobedience at a bare minimum. And of course, it'd be nice to have such a strong culture that even the politicians are afraid to go that direction of, we're going to.
There's already been a lot of success with even the counter narrative with gun control, like them correcting their language and actually calling things semi-automatic rifles.
Oh,
I noticed like corporate media outlets were like, okay, they're like, oh shit.
After all of the things that have happened.
Holy crap. Okay, thanks to Sasquatch.
Thank you, Sasquatch. Thank you. You literally pushed us very close to getting to this goal
we can definitely
of starting
start
this.
Now after everyone who was so generous today, especially Modern Renaissance Man. I love all caps. urges. That was awesome. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm excited for our next live stream to like update you guys on where we're at with the whole progress, and we're gonna keep you guys up to date. Somebody asked like, why is Jack here? Well, he is my partner in crime and in liberty. In crime, oops, in liberty. I meant that like colloquially. Wait.
Careful, the ABC boys might be around.
No,
but
it's like I played the fifth. No,
but yeah, I mean, what?
But in liberty, so
right? It's going to help us be able to do those things, and we're going to talk about specifically, what we're doing, and of course when we're rolling that out. So thank you so much, because obviously we got to get those ducks in a row as far as the corporate stuff goes, to make sure that that's all safe and protected, privacy and also security. Because as you know, us doing this, it's going to lead to people wanting to come after us, right? We intend to be that effective that they're going to be angry. Like they are literally going to be like, "Oh my God, we just got to kill these people. They must be from the NRA. The NRA must have paid them." And it's like, no, it's like, yeah, literally people on super chats just help to make this happen. And we're like, yeah, screw you. People at large don't want to buy into your red flag bull. We're not doing it.
Yet other examples of the collectivist mindset. Just because I like guns, I'm part of the NRA. By the way, I'm not a member. Like,
I haven't been a member since I found out they compromised. So,
and I never was a member. So it's just, or some people are like, "Oh, you're a defector. You just like are beholden to your West imperialists." Like these are Chinese nationalists talking to you, for example. It's just like so nuts. This is what we're up against. We're trying to spread first and foremost ideas and philosophy. That's really my goal. I recognize that I don't have the power to control all human beings in the world. I don't have the power to control anyone, for that matter. And the people who control, it's just pseudo. They're just controlling through extortion. And that person is just choosing to obey you, or you kill them if they disobey, as they do.
Right.
So, yeah, I just forgot where I was going with that. Sorry, but
it's okay. It's okay. I'm sure someone will help.
Is anyone gonna make like a compilation like every time Paul says
every time the White Claw took control of the stream? Some guy asked, how close are you guys to the goal? I would say right now we're about halfway from just the super chats alone tonight. I mean, we weren't expecting this. Again, it was just a soft roll. We were just teasing the idea because we're serious about this. It's not like we want to see. We're really doing it. But we were just like, okay, let's start to talk about it and like say this is what we intend to do in the next couple months. But already, just thanks to Sasquatch and his support. Ron Renaissance Man, some guy, several other people. Colin, thank you so much for supporting. Again, so we are really doing this. This is not like, oh, it's not happening. Oh, it's happening. It's just we're thinking about how we can most effectively do this, because we have to meet with a legal team to go ahead and go and
isn't the first 600 like it's not 600 for one thing? It's multiple. It's made up of multiple different things. So we're halfway to I think like a third of the way to the 600.
Right. Yeah. Basically. I mean, obviously, I'm going to support myself financially as well.
We can still start, and we're going to continue to do live streams.
I'm in this with everybody else who's here to support. Again, it's my time, my labor, my work as well in this. My own finances. Again, I'm with you there supporting. So it just helps us.
I take that back. The only person I control is Jack. So he's working around the clock.
I'm working around the clock. But basically, yes, that because we have to do that first, because again, in order to do the fundraising, we have to have the proper corporate structure, bank account, stuff like that. Because again, there are going to be people who, when they realize how effective it is what we're doing, they're going to want us dead. Like straight up, they're going to want our heads on a platter.
Colin was like, glad to help. I know we use well. Thank you. Yeah. And I'm excited to show you guys our progress as we go. And this is it. It's a very different revolution we're in. Obviously, technology is so different. Communication technology is so different than even in the early 90s. And it was just starting to change in the mid 90s, internet and stuff like that. Like, this really is just a product of the last 30 years. It's incredible. So we have this chance. Let's seize it. Let's communicate. Let's build bridges. Let's have friends. Let's build our communities. Let's, and
let's do it, because this is
try to fund efforts that we believe are standing up for freedom, for our rights, whatever that is.
I mean, do y'all want to be felons? Because I don't want to be considered a felon just because I like guns. I mean, this is crazy. This is absolutely insane. We're going to be considered people that they're going to round up like in China. Again, it's numbers that are so big that it's like what's, that Stalin quote, right? Like 10 deaths is a tragedy, but a million's a statistic. Guess what happens when they say, gun owners, that's just another statistic, right? We're just going to be another statistic of people rounded up possibly, thrown into a cage or just outright murdered, like the guy in Maryland was, who said, no, I'm not giving up my guns to you.
And have the narrative be controlled by the state. Like people in Australia, it's like, oh, we had mandatory gun buyback.
Yeah, Australia.
But no discussions of the victims, all the countless victims who had their property seized.
Right. Or like in New Zealand, where they had that buyback, but nobody was giving it back, right? All the people who had guns, because New Zealand actually had, for that part of the world, relatively liberal gun policies, but nobody was giving it back. No, none of the gun owners like, yeah, no, we ain't giving it back our guns. Yeah, screw you. But that's how it's going to be. But it's like, do you want to live in that world where because you enjoy something, you haven't hurt anybody, you're going to be a criminal, and they're going to, kill your kids, shoot your dog, shoot your wife, your girlfriend, your loved ones? This is sick. This is the sickest. And red flag laws are the sickest things I think you could possibly imagine, since what the communists in China did in order to get people to pit themselves against each other and kind of snitch and be like, oh yeah, this person's not with the party.
Report them to the Communist
Party and kill them. This is literally what it is. It's weaponizing the angst of
just like this family and the elderly couple.
Right.
They literally did. They're like, they don't talk to the elderly couple. They were never threatened with violence by the elderly couple. And behind the elderly couple's back, when they're no longer in the home, they're like, oh my God, I was so scared.
I was so scared. They had guns from the 20s.
We helped them move out. And they didn't do anything to us, but so scared. He used to be a Vietnam War veteran. This is literally what
he has some
doing.
Old-ass guns.
They're succeeding in getting people to see others and demonize them. Just for what they own.
You gotta laugh,
what they like.
Otherwise, I cry because it's when I saw that, I wanted to cry because it was so evil. Just to think, just some old guy and his wife chilling, not doing anything to anybody, and this family wants to call the cops on them and basically threaten them with death and steal their property. Well, who were they hurting? This is crazy. This is the kind of insane, bizarre world. The elderly
couple just obeyed. Yeah, they're like, okay, here, take everything. What are they gonna do? They're like, okay, I want to live out the rest of my retirement, with my freaking wife or my husband. Here, take all my ammo, take all my guns, take all my prized possessions that remind me of, my buddies in the war or whatever, it means to them, and just stolen.
Yeah.
Potentially tens of thousands of dollars, prized possessions that he just probably every day wakes up, it's like, oh yeah, I remember those times. Eats some sausage and bacon. I'm being stereotypical, but yeah, it's just so wrong. And thank you guys all for helping. And we look forward to chatting with you guys soon. And I really like the comments. I'm reading them here and there. It's hard to read them all, but I am reading them and smiling to myself. And at the camera.
Someone said, defiance from immoral authority is the first and last virtue of a free individual. Exactly, Derek. It's something that it's running out of time, right? In China, they literally have almost perfected using their social media and using their mass media to control people's minds to the point where they just get the general population to attack each other through the social credit system. And they're doing that in the US now, but with red flag laws.
And control where they go. I saw the craziest Orwellian footage of, he looked like maybe a traveler, or, he was a white guy, so I don't know if he was a traveler or he moved to China, but he was trying to cross the street. And it's actually a very HD camera, they can see everything. They can really monitor in face and know who he is. And they got his social credit score. And because whatever infraction or low score he had, they're like, you can't cross the street.
Literally
you're in violation. And this guy is so scared. He looks at the camera. He's like, oh. And he walks backwards the 4 feet he was into the road on the sidewalk. And he just oh shit, now he can't cross the road. And there are people in China who can't even leave. And so we gotta fight back. We gotta push back. We gotta put as much counter information out there and expose their tyranny and expose that these people who claim to be your saviors and want to protect you, they're the complete opposite. They want to oppress you and they want to take away your rights. They want to control all the resources, no different than the neo-feudal, serfs or whatever, we're the serfs, but the neo-feudal lords and the kings and the colonialists, coming in and taking and getting all the slaves or whatever. Those are the people that we need to fight against. So thank you all for being here and being part of the revolution. And, You know, somebody.
Whoa.
Oh,
okay.
Thanks, the Sasquatch.
Thanks, Sasquatch. Okay, we're almost there. Get it going.
Wallet. No,
thank you.
Thank you.
No, I mean, no. We trust me. We getting it going. You have told us.
Yeah, we definitely
again.
Have, yeah, we could start.
Again, we're right there with you. We're matching those dollars ourselves too. So we're getting it going. Thank you. Seriously, we're making it happen. So
nice job, Sasquatch.
You know that support literally tells us. Again, that you value what we're doing and we want to take it to that next level, because if you're like us, you're like, I don't want to die on my knees. I don't want to become a serf and a slave.
I don't want to see my friends die. I've met through going to different Liberty events now, especially after going to BCSU. That was crazy. I met like people from all around the United States and the world, Australia, like Brazil, Portugal,
right?
Spain, Czech Republic, Alabama, New York City, like everywhere. Like I just, I don't want to see anyone be shot in the head. I don't want to see people rounded up. Those that I love, that I know are beautiful. They just want freedom. They just want love. They just want companionship. They just want prosperity and peace. Like,
right.
Those are the people that I don't want to see them die. So I will do what I can. We're all preparing, hopefully training, you know, just in case shoot hits the fan, shoot hits the foon. And we're going to, you know, prepare just in case to defend. But in the meantime, we are going to battle it out in the realm of ideas while we have this chance to use the communication technologies that there are. So.
And thank you, Yorktown USA 2A. Yes. Thank you so much. No, seriously, again, every dollar, every support helps, whether it's crypto or dollar. Really, because we just, this is it. We see it. We see what's coming. This is not a joke. This is not a maybe it's happening. It's here. The U.S. federal government and several state governments have already made it clear that they want us dead. They want us out of their way because we are those annoying. Last stands.
We're scum to them. We're these annoying people who are conspiracy theorists because we question all and try to understand all the facts that we see. We're just crazy. You know, these are the people that just hate us because we question their authority, because we won't bow down.
Right.
So we got to fight back, and we can first throw a big middle finger by battling them in what they've been so used to doing, having Hollywood at their disposal, having all the corporate media money and printing of the Federal Reserve and all the central bankers funding them behind the scenes if they're politicians, and other tyrannical governments like Saudi Arabia. Like, we're fighting up against that, and we're going to use the counter propaganda as much as we can. And we can. Yeah.
Because, again, it is cheaper in terms of, expenses than ever to get on that level. We don't, you know what I mean? It used to be, it's very hard to do and get into breaking that cable.
Good camera, like good audio. Yeah, now it's
easy.
Attainable.
It's very attainable.
It reminds me of like the stateless productions,
Right.
Their budget,
they had a $15,000 budget and they raised over $25,000.
A full-fledged documentary. I mean, think about that. That's, in the past, right? You're talking like $1 million blockbusters. Like,
I mean, it would take millions of dollars that now we can do, again, with wise decision-making and picking the right people who have the talent. We can do it on a fraction of that. And that's what's incredible, is we can do that level of cinematography and editing that you would think, oh, it's like a bit higher multi-million-dollar production. We can do it for a very tiny fraction of that. And we will. Just like, we've done for other things. We've been able to take shoestring budgets and do beyond in terms of media outreach and video outreach beyond what many major organizations, 501c3s, not-for-profits, do with $1 million or $2 million. We're able to do that with thousands of dollars, literally, in terms of, if you look at the actual numbers,
I do like how you mentioned the VC.
Millions of people are reached.
Yeah, I'm like fiscally responsible.
Right. VC's $4 million, and they have some of the biggest reach. We're on a shoestring budget in the thousands of dollars, and the videos and the memes and stuff we produce in terms of reaching out to people, we can tell you for a fact it's out there. You can check it yourself. It's in the millions. Millions of people across the world and the U.S. have seen the content. They've seen the gun videos. They've seen the memes, debunking all the different, things the media is doing. We are cutting through the lies. So,
okay, you guys are awesome. Wow, we're getting closer. I think we're almost, we're like, what, halfway?
We're more than halfway at this point. Yeah. Sound guy, thank you so much. He says, can't quite fill Bigfoot shoes.
On a serious note, good luck, guys. No, thank you, some guys. Seriously,
no, thank you.
We're
That's
taking
awesome.
what you do.
Can't quite Philly does 49. That's like so close. That's like
it doesn't
really
matter.
close.
No, seriously, 49 doesn't matter.
same.
It's something that we can take and make it bigger.
You did fill his shoes. Like
oh yeah, exactly.
Even more 2A. Thank you.
Even more 2A. Thanks to Yorktown USA as well.
Awesome.
Again, seriously, this support is taking what we're doing and imagine that like times 10 times 20, right? We've been able to on shoestring budgets reach millions of people. Shoestring budgets, millions of people. We are the envy of many not-for-profits. We have messages that come out to us for different pages because again, we have Philosopher and other pages that we do. They say, "Whoa, how are you doing this?" Because we know how to reach people with the principles because we're not tied to anything. We don't have to.
Now we just need to combine their funding. I mean, maybe not there, but their level of funding with, your knowledge of production and like what to cover.
Exactly. We don't have to kowtow to somebody who's trying to appease people because this isn't about fundraising in and of itself. We're not here just because, we want money for, our purposes. We are just literally just like
no NRA funding here to tell us that we need to say only for law-abiding citizens.
Exactly. We're in the same seat as you. We're just regular people in terms of our daily lives. We're just regular people who don't want to be murdered by the state because we like guns too. That's it. But we just happen to have.
I wasn't on the scene when I was a baby. Right. Were you?
No, I wasn't. I'm just like anybody else. I went to college, like a Maine National College, with enjoying life, doing fun stuff. I enjoy production. I enjoy hanging with my friends. I enjoy shooting because I think it's fun. I love shooting. It's just fun.
Trying to build a career, trying to live your best life, that song. And, you kind of were pulled into it. I think everyone, especially those who create content for liberty, like whether you're working a not-for-profit and like that's your main shtick, you're really trying to promote liberty, like you had this moment where you're like, whoa, you're like woken up from your normal everyday kind of path, or not every day, but just like what path you were on, like what you were told growing up, like, okay, well, I'm going to go be a doctor. I'm going to try to find a wife. I'm going to settle down and pay my taxes. Like, then you learn the nature of taxation and then it keeps going. And you're like, whoa, you get so angry because you're like, wow, I'm literally being stolen from. And there are people in power who are the ones receiving the extorted money from me. And they're using it to oppress me even more. It's like, okay, well now it's like exactly once you take that red pill, you can't untake it. Like it's it's like you'll always be like, crap, I have that knowledge. So we're just everyday people. I mean, if I would love to just be in a voluntary society. I would love to, I mean, I guess I would still be trying to spread philosophy and peaceful parenting and stuff, but not to feel this danger that I could be killed, that people
and that's the immediacy that we're working against is that like we love life, we love having friends, we like doing fun stuff. Again, if you're watching this, you're probably like
capitalism.
Us. You enjoy the products and bounty of eating delicious food and getting to have new experiences, doing fun extreme sports or shooting and stuff like that. Like regular people, like we enjoy these things. We like having friends, we like having fun and go out and doing stuff. But when I literally can't just peacefully, again, I'm not initiating force against anybody. If I can't just peacefully have fun with my friends and exist, I'm going to be a criminal
and explore my interests and things that
I just can't do. I can't live like that. I can't sit down and just do nothing. So again, the people here who have supported us, directly here on the super chats, thank you so much because we are not going to take that lightly. We are very serious. We want to stop this and we're going to do whatever we can in our power to fight against the media campaign coming from, again, the major corporate media, the different gun grabbing groups, March for Our Lives, Moms Demand, Action, all that stuff. We want to take their words, shove it down their throat, and make them say, "Oh my gosh, I don't even know how I'm going to come back from that."
And all these corporations, like the Walmart CEO.
Oh my god, yeah, right. Walmart. Oh, we're gonna take off.
This is what happens when Sam dies.
Right, Sam Walton would not stand for this if he was alive.
Would he? I don't know. Wouldn't he just be like,
I don't think so.
I don't know. We should just sell it because they're non-violent. Let's just sell the ammo. And
I mean, could you believe that? Like the Walmart company, literally, again, if they really thought it was a problem, they would just pull it off the shelves. They'd say, "Oh, we're going to pull it. They're going to sell it out. They're going to sell their stock."
They're like, "Hey, we have all of these remaining. Right. Let's virtue signal, but not actually apply what we're saying that we believe, and literally burn their ammo and destroy it." No, they're still gonna sell it.
Right. It's such a crisis that they won't blow it up, but they'll sell it.
While attacking gun owners and stereotyping them, and while calling for the state to enact more gun control.
Right.
Like literally, it's nuts. So we're fighting back against all these corporations.
And it's annoying because Walmart had good prices because they were able to buy in such bulk. Of course, there's online, retailers who sell it as well, but it's just
convenience.
We are fighting against this status culture that wants to basically demonize people who have not harmed anybody. And we're not going to stand for that. We're not going to just keel over and say, yeah, here's our guns. No, fuck you. So sorry for the frights there, but it's just we're not going to do it, and we don't have to hold back. We don't have to play politics or pander to some donors, as a big corporation. We can just sit there and say, no, we're going to make the videos that's going to make them crawl back to their holes, because we're not going to put up with it anymore.
And why? Because I want a world of peace. I want to see dads and moms cuddling their babies and nurturing them and giving them so much love. I want to see friendship. I want to see people growing old and being peaceful together. I want to see technology continue to advance. I want to see people continue to trade ideas and music and all kinds of beautiful art. Like, I want to see that continue. I don't want to see Hiroshima. I don't want to see Nagasaki. I don't want to see death and destruction, what Iraq and people in Afghanistan or Syria see. I don't want to see the destruction of all the things that we hold dear in our our limited understanding of consciousness and what it means to be a consciousness. What is this? Like a human being. I don't want it to end, and I'm going to do everything I can, use my reasoning faculties as best as I can to figure out a way to combat this tyranny that is here. Been here for years, and for most of recorded human history, we come from literal human sacrifices and killing your children because you don't have enough resources to take care of them. So, we're going to do what we can to push back. And I just love that you guys are all here, and hopefully we can have more, happier Liberty events. And
that definitely
be able to push back and celebrate and be like, yay, we did it. I want to do that. I want to have a pho con where we have pho and White Claws. And we just hang out. So,
and as Colin says here, guns really do create a more civilized society, and that's absolutely true, because when people are able to defend themselves, the people who are tempted, again, this is not most people, it's actually a smaller amount of people, and people really realize that the small people who are willing to steal from others, rape, murder, again, when you make it so that is very difficult,
decentralized gun ownership,
not guns in themselves, you have made it so that those people second guess whether they're going to go and try to victimize somebody. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with making murderers, rapists, pedophiles, whatever else kind of violators of people's body or property scared. There is nothing ethically wrong with making them
I'm pretty sure,
afraid.
Isn't that already a norm? Most people want that.
Right.
They just make excuses for the state, but most people, if you just ask them, do you think murder and theft is wrong and rape? They're going to be like, yeah, obviously. That'd be a red flag if they were like, actually, no, I think rape's okay sometimes.
And Yorktown USA says small arms over big militaries. Exactly. As it was forewarned, big standing armies lead to a massive socialism in the future.
You're a big target.
Right.
Oh, there's a giant army, just like the red line supporters. I know that's not what it's called because I've just seen that meme page so much. The thin red line supporters. That's hilarious.
But yes, again, as long as there's still governments, of course, there is still a concern for defense against what would be very large armies and stuff like that. Completely understandable. We're not unrealistic about those things. We understand that's a real thing.
But that's why we want the transition, which we've also talked about.
Right. It doesn't mean that that we just ignore the reality of those things. It means what is the ethical path to deal with those things in terms of how people are treated. Again, decentralized defense, voluntary support against those outside aggressors of other governments, because it doesn't matter what it is. It's governments everywhere. It's a threat. It's still a threat to everybody, right? It's like, okay, they're lying and our lying. Well, guess what? Both lions are still a threat. They can still eat you. Whether it's your government or someone else's government in terms of proximity, it's still a threat. So you have to always be conscious of that, and really think about how you're able to decentralize that as best as possible. to defend against those types of incentives.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was you going to say? Oh,
there's just a few. Yeah, well, you guys are awesome. Yorktown, USA, Sasquatch, guy that comments. He really does comment, don't you? Literally. And Modern Medicine.
I need a claw leak really quick.
Oh, a claw leak. Got it. Okay. Well, here I am. I'm all alone. There's no one literally beside me. Okay, sorry. But you gotta have friends on YouTube and Facebook. Okay. So that's what I do. I sing when we hang out. But yeah. So it's a crazy world, but just gotta say, I guess I just gotta say many things, but don't forget sometimes to just take a step back and remember, all we can do is take each day one at a time. So in every moment that we can remember in our conscious, can't do it when you're sleeping, but when we're conscious, we can always try to reflect and improve ourselves and, really try to, create the world that we really want to see, not to quote Gandhi or anything. But, truly, it really takes, we should just live our lives to the best that we can, as virtuous as we can, as honest and as truthfully as we can. So, and hopefully everything turns out for the better. And at the very least, y'all can, amass in some of the few southern states left that respect gun rights. And
sweet Lord,
we can
because there ain't no northern states that respect gun rights, right? But that's the thing is, again,
even New Hampshire.
Oh man, my gosh, they almost got some serious gun control passed. There was 3 bills in the New Hampshire legislature, and if it wasn't for the governor vetoing all 3, they would have had some of the most draconian gun laws in the whole United States. I mean, it's very scary, and that's why I hope that if you're watching this, maybe you're someone who's in one of those really not so great to be states where the gun bans are there and stuff like that. Just go move.
I know there are a lot of Californians.
Right? Go move to a state where at least the Second Amendment and gun rights are respected. Go work with those people and make those a part of the secessionist movement. You know what I mean? Go work and bust your butt with those people. Unify in those areas. Because again, if you aggregate there and you change minds, at least there'll be a stalwart of people who are going to fight against the coming federal tyranny. You know what I mean? Just think about it. Because as we just saw with the red flag laws we talked about, some guy literally got arrested over standard capacity magazines. They say, high capacity. No, standard capacity magazines. Getting arrested for having 4 of them. I mean, that's crazy. And people around us have tons of those all the time.
People think that it's easy to aim under stress or something. These people don't know how to use firearms. It's like 10 rounds could be just enough for one person. Like I saw this video of a few cops like surrounding this guy. There was a call for him. He was walking around with a knife in a neighborhood. Right. And the cops came, and for a long time they're like, put it down, put your gun down. The guy just kept walking and following them, and they have their body cams. And eventually the guy charges at one of the cops with his knife, and he's like, like trying to shoot. And the cop's armed. He shoots him like 4 times, and the guy like keels over, right?
Yeah.
And then I can't remember. Maybe I think the cop approaches him, like kind of closes the distance a little.
Just a little bit, but just they're just saying to drop the knife.
But then the guy gets up again after being shot. They're like, drop the knife. It's like, dude, he already tried to lunge it. But then the guy comes up again, and he's like enraged because he's been shot, and he's like adrenaline rushing, right? He's been shot. He's like gonna die. And he like starts stabbing the cop. And if it wasn't for the other cop that was watching, landing a nice clean headshot on the knife.
Not that I like cops by any measure, but just talk about the mechanics of the situation.
They literally had to empty like 11 bullets just for this one guy.
He might have been on something.
He didn't have an assault rifle.
Yeah.
He just had a knife.
Right.
And so it's like, these high capacity magazines, it's like, screw you. I want as much ammo as possible. Because I want as maximum chances as possible to defend my life.
Right.
There are stories that we've shared before with our daily DGUs of somebody fending off multiple attackers. Like one guy used his AR and he fended off like 4 different people, you know, with his AR. And like there was also this one lady, this Asian woman, who fended off, like, it looked like a few hooded people who went into her home, and she fended them off with a handgun. And, you know, like, it's just like, I want his maximum chances. So like, screw the people trying to dictate.
And that's the assumption. It's like, oh, well, that's all you need for one person. It's like, literally, there are tons of times where someone is being home invaded by several people.
Those people are absolutely ignorant. They have no idea the possibilities of what can happen.
Yeah.
And these are the same people who will shit on you and shame you because you recognize the real possibility, as history has shown and is being shown now with our very own governments, federal and state governments, that government quickly and often does turn tyrannical, and they just shit on us. And some people's responses, well, you can take them on anyway. These are the
right. You should just get raped. They're too big. Just bend over and take it. It's like, what's the point of your existence if you're literally just like, well, I'm just born to get raped?
Yeah, you bow down to whoever's strongest.
Sorry, I'm choosing a different destiny. I'm not going to just keel over.
Yeah. So thank you. I know there's a lot of passionate people out there, and I read your comments, and it gives me hope. You know, all of you who are just like, you know, I'll stand, like, I'm training too, like, ready to defend if needed. And thank you. So hope to meet you guys all someday on nice terms so we can celebrate. And
hopefully after defeating some of these upcoming scary red flag law bills, whether it's, you know, federal or state level, because
this is our civil war movement.
This is it.
You know what I mean? Or civil rights movement, civil war.
It could be a civil war if it keeps going, because, you know, some people say, oh, well, people are just going to give up.
No,
I don't think so. This is
demanding
to be
treated and respected as individual human beings. It's us demanding that we get to have control over our own lives, bodies, and property. Just like a lot of them say. They're like, oh, my body, my choice. Well, not when it comes to anything else other than abortion. Like, only abortion, my body, my choice. But everything
not
else.
Guns, food, vaccines, or anything else.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to show them, be like, no, you're a hypocrite. No, you're just lying to everybody. So that we can be on our way with life, liberty, property, peace, and prosperity.
Right. Sasquatch says, thank you both for doing what you're doing. No, thank you. I mean,
thank you.
It is daunting, and we both were.
Thank you for your daily grind and helping us to, you know, spend time off of our daily grind to do liberty.
We both were not sure if we were ready to take on this burden, because we know that if we do this, obviously there's responsibility, because we have to carry through with what we say. It's important. Our integrity is important. But more so, we know that it puts us into a greater public scrutiny risk.
Potential for a lot of backlash.
Right, because it puts us in the line of sight of some of these major anti-gun groups. And if you look at any of these threads, right, go look on the Twitter threads, go look on the Instagram threads, go look on the Facebook threads. The people who follow these gun groups are literally some of the most murderous people I've ever seen. When you look at what they say, they're like, kill these gun grabbers, pry from their cold dead hands. I am, you know, nervous about this. I am nervous about what we're doing, but I also realize what's the alternative? Oh, okay, well, it just goes through the legislature, and now we're felons and we're criminals and we're going to be murdered. Mm-hmm. So, I realize that this is do or die. And just like people, in the 1930s or in any other, genocidal regime that was about to arise, you have to make a choice. And we've both decided that, even though it is a tough choice to make, that could lead to us being personally persecuted or killed, we are going to go through and try to stop it. So it's hard. It's definitely hard. Sorry. Yeah. Well, tearing up because, it's very real. It's very easy to be academic about it, but
Ross Ulbricht, he's just in prison for seven years now, and he's just doing the best he can. And
it's very hard
so many
to choose that. So, I was hoping it would have come to this in my lifetime, but it's gonna be what it's gonna be. So, Yeah. So,
Yeah.
But we really appreciate you, taking that stand with us.
Oh, thanks, Brian.
So.
Thanks for sharing the message of freedom. Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you for your service. That really helps. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Tears of a hero.
Yeah.
I agree. Way to go, Brian. Oh, thanks, Brian.
And I'm not trying to toot my horn. It's just, it's what it is. Like, what else am I gonna do, right? I mean, when
I don't think that's tooting your own horn at all.
Because we're just trying to do with what we got.
I mean, it's
yeah.
Tyranny has existed. It's just gotten to the point where compared to what the potential for this mass surveillance, and the level that China has in this Orwellian future is so near. It's so close. And I'm confident you would still be writing about liberty. It just wouldn't be as scary.
Yeah. It is. It's very scary because it's not a joke. It's
people threatening and trying to amass hundreds of millions of people against you. It's scary. So, we're trying our best to fight back, and sometimes it can feel fruitless against the monoliths of the world, but what else can you do? And so many revolutions have been fought by people who are against the monoliths of the old systems that have been. So we'll do what we can to.
Yeah. No, and we just really appreciate you, and we're right there with you. Because this is it. So, the amount of time we have is very limited. And if you follow global trends and history, there's only so many times you're going to have a chance to take a stand before it's too late. So we're going to try, and obviously we're not alone. There's other people trying to move mountains before it's too late. So
at the very least, I find solace in the fact that we're not alone.
Yeah.
So, of course, compared to maybe all the billions, 7 whatever billions people in the world, libertarians and those who love freedom and have learned about property rights are very small. I don't know what that number is, maybe in the couple million or several million. I don't know how to quantify it, but it's nice to know that we're not alone. And we're going to keep trying to grow that circle. And I know a lot of you that I've met in person are doing that too with your friends and family, friends that you grew up with, family, of course, and trying to change minds. And, if not there, trying to build new friendships, reaching out to other people online, building communities, getting to know others, developing true friendships based on virtue. So, I hope you guys know that you're not alone either, and thinking of you guys and all your comments of support whenever it feels really tough.
Right. Yeah. And thank you, Brian, for your support too. Yeah. He says, did you say that? Thank you for spreading the message of freedom. Thank you for serving.
Oh, yeah. We read that.
Okay.
Do you want to?
What's that?
Do you need a napkin?
No, I'm all right. It's just tough because, I talk about it all the time and stuff like that. But, when it comes to the reality, I think about my own history, my own family. And it's very
present. And the history of trauma.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Not just by the state, but own family members. And
it's very present for me. It's present for you too, because your own family fled very serious persecution.
And
her family, they were killed off, literally. So,
my aunt, from what I remember.
So
great grandpa.
It seems like it's fun. It's like videos and memes and stuff like that, but it's real human lives.
Trying to get to people who are so new to the idea that we have to lower their walls with humor. So we definitely don't downplay it just because we make memes. It's really the goal is to expose people to these ideas, and the strategy is to lower their walls, like We the Internet TV or Julie Borowski using humor to, get people to actually consider your ideas and not just catch you off as crazy. So
that's why we use humor a lot, right? Because
someone was talking about persuasion. We try. try the ethics, logic, and now we're gonna try the emotion. So I'm so excited. And you guys helped us get so close along the way. You know, I'm pretty sure we're halfway there.
Yeah,
and
way more than halfway there. And you know, it takes a lot of courage, you know, even to support us. For those of you who do whatever it is, it doesn't matter whether it's financial or whether you're sharing stuff. You know, you're taking a bold stand right now, especially today, because as you've already seen, we've talked about, there are people who just want to report you or you know, say you're a terrorist or say you're evil just because you share a meme. With the BC culture, they say it's hate speech and they want to throw you in a cage. And the people in the UK are being rounded up for having butter knives, of all things. And people around the world are being murdered. Yeah.
In the UK, they had a literal execution by some, I don't even know, a migrant from somewhere with a sword in broad daylight.
Yeah, there was some guy just mass murdering people with a sword.
It was like some dude in the car with him. I think it might have been his roommate. And he literally just opens the door, drags his roommate out, and just starts stabbing him. Just over and over, just like hard. And literally just cutting him up. And none of these people, no one around, the person recording from his apartment up afar, the woman who gets out of her car and stops, and she's like, stop, but she has no weapons.
They're not armed.
She's like, stop. And then she starts running away because the guy with the gun is like, he's like, don't mess with me.
They can't stop this mass murder.
And this is the insanity that we don't want. This is the life or death. This is I don't want to live in the world where my only choice for defending my life is waiting for 10 minutes while I'm like ducked undercover a desk and hoping like the freaking cop actually comes in the store or the school and actually saves me.
Yeah.
I don't want to live in that world. I want to rely on myself. I don't want to be afraid walking around. I want to know that I have been trained and I have the ability to defend myself if someone wants to rape me or attack me for whatever reason. So that's what we're up against. And I guess, you know, that's why, you know, the pain to stay the same truly is greater than the pain to change right now. So.
And Brian says, wish me luck. He's going to UK. Yeah, good luck on that, man. I honestly, I wouldn't touch that region with a 10-foot stick.
But I kind of don't want to just because of all the...
I visited London...
That was long ago.
Maybe 16 years ago. I would never go back because, I mean, honestly, it's a true police state.
I also don't want to visit China, even though, you know,
I wish I could visit China.
I would love to visit China and explore the history, but a lot of things have been burned down anyway.
Yeah.
So I'd love to visit Hong Kong
at least. And then Sasha says, are you talking about the machete attacks at the barracks at South London? I'm not sure if it was outside barracks because I don't know what it was in respect to, but someone was in the middle of the street and they were just literally stabbing, killing.
Oh, no, not machete attacks. It was with a literal, like, long sword.
It was a long sword, yeah.
And it was the execution of one person.
Mm-hmm. They came after their roommate.
So
and everybody just standing there doing nothing.
And the guy was beheaded. It looked like an ISIS beheading. It just looked so horrible. It just...
Yeah.
I wish I could have been there and gotten out of my car and shot that person down, like, and saved that person. But to just see it so helpless, it's just
it's rough. Yeah. So
we gotta,
that's why we're trying.
We gotta protect our home, our homeland. Like this place that I was born into with no choice. Well, here I am. I'm a U.S. citizen, and you know, I guess those white people are my founding fathers too, and some of them were libertarians. And and a lot of the people that have been American citizens, like Ayn Rand and Rothbard and Mises, and they really tried to spread liberty. So I want to carry the torch of liberty forward. And clearly, I know a lot of you guys do too. So thank you so much.
Seriously, thank you.
I hope to, you know, continue seeing you guys in the comments and seeing you guys on the next live streams as we give you updates.
Yeah.
We'll go away now with the super chats and start, you know, setting up the first preliminary steps.
Yeah, we're going to work on that. It should be pretty straightforward, but obviously, you know, the documentation has to be done right. But once we have that up, it's going to be very smooth sailing because it'll allow us to, you know, do those other types of outreaches and, you know, fundraisings with, you know, privacy again and security in mind because Lord knows when we go this route, there's going to be people who are not very happy, and those people are going to be a part of March for Our Lives, and they're going to be a part of all the gun grabbing groups.
Why do you think my name is the Philosopher, not my real name? Ching Chong Ching.
Ching Chong.
Why? I mean, oh shit, that's my own.
Oh man, they're demonetized now. Great. Okay.
No. Doxing. Watch, someone looks up, they're like, ching chong ching.
There are some people who, they see someone wanting to be free as violence. Someone wanting to be, who doesn't initiate physical force against another or defraud another, that's violence to them, just living free. And it's very sad that the culture has drifted that way, but we're going to fight back with everything that I've got and what you've got. So, and whatever else people are willing to put into our ammo box to keep fighting with.
As you have. So thank you.
Yeah,
I'm so excited to give you guys the next update. Oh gosh. That's live. I can't cut that out.
Oh, you can't cut that out. It's too late. That's live. That's raw verbiage. But yeah, I mean, we'll be your voices out there. We'll take the heat, even though it's, as you saw, it's going to be painful. It's not going to be comfortable, doing that. But we're just like you. We're like, we can't stand still. We can't just sit here and just roll over and be like, yeah, we're just going to give up our liberties and die.
Hope, no. And I also hope to see you guys at the decentralized protests.
And the decentralized, right. So again, for those who are last coming before we sign up here, we want to fundraise for a particular video that's going to really put the gun grabbers in the defensive. We want to do a decentralized protest leading up to the 2020 elections, and we want to put out some more content, probably just at least a special video and some other content, digitally, otherwise, that reaches out to high schoolers and college students. Because again, that's where these groups are really focusing. The Moms Demand Action, March for Our Lives, they're just trying to manipulate all the young people who are going to be coming out to the polls, first-time voters in 2020. We want to reach them and say, hey, there's more to the story than what you've been told by, your English teacher.
Yeah, those will be great videos. So, woohoo! Woohoo! Cool. I'm glad that to be alive and in this time, and I'm thankful to be here with y'all
for
being here, and thank you to a lot of you who are on this live stream now that I met in person. And
I mean, if you're watching this,
a world that
you're part of the resistance. So people say, "Oh, what were the people doing who are part of the founding fathers?" And stuff like that. Like, who are in those circles? You're it. You're watching this. You're a part of it. You're a part of that founding fathers. I mean, of course, now it's more than just founding fathers. Thanks to people like Philosopher and other people who, like Liberty Doll and people who are, joining in on this. But there's Carrie Wedler. Obviously, there's tons of people.
Founding mothers.
It goes beyond fathers. It goes, mothers and so forth. But this is it. You're a part of it. You're here. If you're here, you're watching. You're part of the last vestige of resistance that is going to take on what will. If we succeed, we may preserve liberty. If we fail, I think the world will be plunged into a darkness, the likes of which have never been contemplated.
It's already dark for people in Venezuela and China.
Oh yeah, it is. But now imagine that the whole world.
Can't believe someone from Guangzou, China.
Right?
That's awesome.
The whole world now.
Are you gonna be okay? You're watching this stream.
Right? Yeah, might be on a VPN.
Seriously.
Might be.
Okay, all right.
Right? Yeah. If you're in China watching this, you might be on the VPN.
Guy that comment says Liberty Doll said she'd be down for a live show. I know. She actually reached out to me on Twitter. I was like, wow, I'm honored. She said a lot of her
so there might be a little something.
Yeah, so let's see if I go.
Someone noticed the salmon jerky.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, Sasquatch noticed the salmon jerky.
Salmon jerky is so good.
I like that. Oh, someone said the founding philosophers. Ooh.
There we go. Founding philosophers.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The founding philosophers.
I'm a girl. It's male.
Oh my gosh! But I like that actually. I like that.
I'm gonna live.
What if it was What if it was the founding philosophers instead of fathers? The founding philosophers. Whoa.
Yeah, because then it's gender neutral.
Oh my god, the gender neutral. we can both have penises and not at the same time.
Founding philosopher men. Like, how like man was used a lot during the time of Rothbard and Ayn Rand.
Yeah.
It's like, don't say man, even though you're talking about
it's
humanity.
Man. It's man. The founding man.
It's man. That guy made a rap. If he can make a rap, I can make a rap.
Well, he did make a couple raps, so there's that.
But
but yeah, no, seriously, thank you. I hope everybody's having a good night. Again, we don't want to just be dismal. We're very hopeful about the future of liberty, but we understand that what we're about to face is probably one of the biggest hurdles in American history in a while, to say the least. Since maybe
it's been
1913,
incremental and hidden. For the first time, this is so overtly violating.
It's so sinister.
A lot of the amendments in the Bill of Rights.
Right. This is a unprecedented method of destroying every single fundamental right concept you could imagine. It's like multiple all at once. First Amendment, Second Amendment,
gold and silver
Fourth
now.
Amendment.
Agreed.
So
prepare for. They're messing with everything. Your finances. They're printing money. They're keeping the money first and then getting to spend it on whatever they want. Right. This fake money, and then they give you like the goods and services after they're super expensive, and the currency's devalued. So look into cryptocurrencies, gold, silver.
Diversify. Prepare.
Yeah, prepare. Try to prepare your family. Try to spread the culture of defense and guns. Like, it's no different learning how to shoot guns than it is to take a Krav Maga class or take a boxing class, take a karate class. You're just learning, or a woman's self-defense class for a day. Like, it's no different than
Identify as a woman for a day and then take it.
It's just one way to prepare. Just in case, no different than a hurricane insurance or whatever. Like, it's just a way to, just in case something happens, you're prepared. So yeah. Anyway, I know I said an hour ago that we'll end the live stream soon. It's okay. I like hanging out. There's always a lot of things to talk about. And
there are.
Those of you who've hung out with us, that tends to happen. It goes late into the night. Alex, I'm looking at you.
It's been quite a roller coaster of thoughts and emotions and everything,
Hopefully this was also really valuable. I know it's been 2 hours and a half. But thank you so much for hanging out. And,
just being raw, being real, being vulnerable. I mean, that was definitely vulnerable for me because obviously I'm nervous myself about that fact that in order to do what we need to do to combat the mass media influence for trying to ban guns, it's going to put some skin in the game, and it's gonna be scary. So, but here we are. It's do or die. We gotta do it. So we gotta make sure to.
It's gonna be
preserve
scary,
liberty one way or another. That's Sasquatch.
For
thanks
me,
for doing this.
I accept it. It is what it is, and it's what people have been doing for our whole history, for known recorded human history. There have been those who stood up against tyranny. Right. Unfortunately, there have been a lot slaughtered off for standing up for liberty, but there are those who actually helped change the tide and were able to protect themselves and others and create, like with the American Revolution, create some sort of semblance of some freedom that was never known. So let's evolve that some more. Let's contribute to part of human history where for the first time we have even more liberty than has ever been known. The philosophy of voluntarism, of non-aggression, like these are very radical ideas in the scope of human history. So you're all part of it. Like, it's awesome. And I do find solace in that, at least. I know it's scary, but I also recognize all the people dead now that are, a lot of them are just faceless parts of history, dead. Like, I recognize they tried and I'm going to try my best too. And that's all I know.
This is the best we can do.
Unless you prove to me that I'm just going to heaven, none of this matters. But I'm pretty sure this matters, and they're my children.
I'm pretty sure our liberty matters now.
And my children, my grandchildren, my grandchildren's children, my friends, their kids, they're going to live beyond us. They're going to be new, innocent human beings trying to make sense of the world. And I want to leave behind as peaceful of a world as possible. Just like I got to experience, despite all the statism, I got to experience in this lifetime so far a lot of capitalism, a lot of love, and a lot of friendships and peace. And I just want everybody to have that too. So we can do it. Free the individuals, free the market. Right. The individuals, basically.
Brian says that, and then Phorensics says, "Love you guys."
Yay, team.
Love you all too. Because again, this is
Don't lose heart. It'll be tough. Keep going. Thanks, Colin. You're awesome. Cowabunga, it is.
That's it. Cowabunga, it is, because it's we don't want it to lead to
awesome.
we want a peaceful revolution. We don't want violence. We want people to be left alone and free.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Someone said watching your streams makes you realize other people get it in real life too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it taught me going out and doing Philosopher 3 years ago. I was just so new. I was like, whoa, there's that many people who agree with me. I thought it was
tons of people,
because I was just used to, my old public school friend group, and they all looked at me like I was nuts, and I changed. And I mean, most of them. So yeah, it's really cool to see that there are other people that agree. So it will keep growing, and it has. You know, Ron Paul revolution helped.
Right.
Lots of different, like Ayn Rand back in the day, Milton Friedman, all these people. Like, we can do it. The time is now. We are the living. Sounds like Ayn Rand, but we are the living. We have this moment. We can seize the time, and we'll do our best. You know, I know it's hard. I know you guys have jobs. I have a job too. You have a job. We have our daily grind.
Yeah.
We have family. We have family issues to still deal with, and just know that you're not alone, and that there are other consciousnesses in the world that want this love and freedom too. So we're all in this together.
You're not alone. That's for sure. You're definitely not alone in wanting to have liberty and love with family and peace and be able to enjoy the beauties of the world. Like it's something that you would think would seem so obvious, but there's just a certain group of people in this world who think that they should tell us, how to live our lives down to the very.
A lot of them are traumatized too. They're
they
kind
are
of just over the brink, and they're morally insane.
Sadly,
they all were children. We all human beings were children, innocent human beings at one point. But it is what it is. Some people are just super corrupt. You got the Jeffrey Epstein's, Clinton crime family of the world. You have people who literally call out assassinations just for wanting to expose a crime that you're doing.
Right. So, that's a great. We go into the whole thing with the Epstein scandal.
It is what it is. They're past the point. They want to kill you. And
It's sad. I don't. I wish those people could be saved. Like I wish people who are like struggling with that and who just want to control people because of their dysfunction could just be helped and be at peace.
If someone's running at you with the knife, you got two choices. You either be stabbed or you shoot them in the center mass as much as you can, so he doesn't stab you in the heart.
And you use your isosceles position.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're watching that.
We're going to do more range.
We're going to
do
some more range.
That was another thing we didn't mention. I mean, we're just kind of doing that, but we'd love to get a range mic so you can actually hear me when people.
Yeah, we need to bring a mic to the range too to do more of that because we'd like going on the range. It's just fun. It's just like if some people like chocolate, you like racing cars, or you like whatever. Like shooting guns is fun.
I want to help normalize the culture of guns. Again, not just with logic and ethic, just all different ways. And this way, it's just normalizing by being like trying to just show like, okay, the reason I own guns is to defend myself, and I'm a nonviolent person.
And it can be just fun. Like there's nothing wrong with having fun. Whether you play video games, whether you play Dungeons and Dragons, whether you like to go with your friends on hikes, it doesn't matter. You do things because you subjectively value it. If I shoot a gun at a target and I'm not hurting anybody, who cares? Like, it should be the same thing. If you want to be vegan or you want to eat meat, if you want to be gay, you don't want to be gay. Who cares? Are you physically initiating force against the other person? Are you defrauding them? Are you physically stealing their, justly acquired property? No? Okay. Who cares? Like, literally this is so simple stuff that is taught to kindergartners, right? Like, don't hurt other kindergartners and don't take their stuff. But adults lose this. So, modern Renaissance man, Jack, we need to have a man cry sometime. Yeah, we'll have a man cry. There'll be many times. Trust me, if I cried all the times that I thought about modern the future, it would be rough. But I try to keep going strong because
he's talking about our Google Hangouts.
Yeah, I realize
he wants you to come.
Yeah,
he's invited you before.
Maybe I'll come sometime on that. But
maybe you'll come. It's me and Zach right now.
Yeah. I just, I try to stay strong because I want to, inspire people for liberty, but it's hard sometimes because I realize that, there's just one wrong move between me and someone like Ross Ulbricht or Cody Wilson. Again, these are people who, did some great things, but, you make one wrong move and you can end up dead or in a cage. And that's not where I want to be. I want to be out there helping people and encouraging, inspiring, mentoring. I don't want to be in a cage. But I understand that that's a real risk that comes with going out there and trying to change minds on a broader scale. So, I'm nervous, but. And then Alex says, "You two are on fire. Don't ever stop." Alex Vidal here.
Normalize liberty. I like what Brian said. I agree. Exactly.
I've done my time behind the scenes. I've financially supported various.
When are we gonna break out Assange? Isn't he in the? He's in the UK still.
Who?
Assange.
Last I heard, because of the charges related to him, he hasn't been extradited anywhere yet. Yeah, but exactly, those people who
victim of
take that next step,
So I want there to to be like a moral outrage against that, you know? So
right. And like the Sasquatch says, they'll first try to discredit, right? Again, people who are actually meaningfully making change for liberty, they try to do something to discredit you, color you as some big generalization name.
Again, they use all their resources in Hollywood and the corporate media to do that.
So, I'm nervous about it, but I've committed to the fact that I know that what's the difference? Either way, if I don't act, I'm going to be a dead man. So whatever, might as well choose the path of change, because either way, I'm not gonna relinquish my rights. I'm not gonna relinquish my guns.
It's not irrational to be scared. We've seen so many stories of people who get doxxed and they get fired from their jobs for their opinions, like that guy from I believe Google, because he wrote a letter about like male and female differences or something like that.
Yeah, that was
example. Like it's not irrational to be scared. Like we have countless examples of what the state, people in power will do to silence the opposition.
Or like Seth Rich, right? I mean, obviously it's not dispositively proven one way or another that he was murdered but I mean, it's 2 shots to the back and nothing was stolen, and it appears that maybe he was the connection for leaking the DNC emails
and he was going
to WikiLeaks. I mean, it's one of those things where when you have to make that choice, and you have to say, well, do I choose to be silent or do I choose to speak out? You got to pick one. And again, even if you're supporting us in that we can be your voice, that's amazing too. I've done that too. When I wasn't ready to go out, I supported and financially supported anyone who was an activist.
Yeah.
And
at
was
the
doing
time,
stuff.
Tom Woods, Stefan Molyneux.
Absolutely. Even Adam Kokesh in the past and stuff like that, although I don't agree there. All things he does. But
at the time, he was doing great work.
I mean, again, support activism and, I support people, veterans. But I've realized that it's my up to bat. So I'm going to take it. I've chosen to take that path that's on me. So, do or die. So here we are.
Truth wins.
Truth hopefully will win in the end.
We're going to keep trying to push
Unless it's a 1984 scenario that comes out in the end. But we're going to try to not have 1984 become reality. So we're going to try to keep Orwell fiction, So, but yeah. All right. So we'll wrap this up here. Thanks everybody for stepping out and
thank you
supporting
for
us.
all of those who gave super chats on YouTube. We're ready. We're gonna. I mean, I thought we were just gonna. Expose the idea and that we're gonna do more live streams, but we can already start it and create the first step. So thank you so much. If you want to follow us, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Mind, Steemit, BitChute now. Great automatic uploads are awesome. Good everything. Good software engineers. Thank you.
And again,
you can go to thephilosopher.com and you can look at the support page to see. Oh, thanks for all the hearts, Alex.
Yeah.
And the old face.
And again, whether you can financially support or not, it doesn't matter. The question is just how many minds are we changing, helps. Right? Again,
communicating with your friends. Like we've had a lot of people come up to us, like they're not supporting us financially directly. Maybe they're students or whatever situation they want to save. Who cares, right? There's no need. You can do whatever you want,
right?
But a lot of them share and they talk to their friends, and they said they got a lot of their friends to follow my page. So anything you do, talking about it, talking with your friends, supporting us either monetarily or just by like spreading the word about the work that we do, sharing our videos, using our videos that we've made like in debates or arguments online, like
use it as a reference.
Helps. And so thank you. And look forward to our next live stream and giving us the next updates.
All right, take care, YouTube. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you all.
Yes,
love your
support means we're pretty much able, I think, at this point to go forward. We're going to go ahead and start working on that and getting it going early. We were softballing it, but okay,
we're doing it.
You've told us you're ready to go. Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
It's time.
So
it's always time.
If you have a webpage, again, The Philosopher.
Take care, y'all. Thank you, guy that comments. Maybe one day I'll know your real name. Just kidding. In person. Do you have a webpage? Yes, there it is.
It's all there. All right. Take care, YouTube. See y'all later.
Bye. Bye.
And then Facebook.